Hey, campers! It's your junior woodchuck counselor, Rob Hot Sauce Haynes, just imploring you one more time. Please, if you enjoy us in your ear holes each and every week, do us a favor and go on iTunes and write us a review, give us a 5-star rating or something like that, or just share, spread the good word to your friends, either by clicking the little share guy, or just telling somebody out here in Meat World. We'd appreciate it. It would do our little black hearts good. Muchas gracias.
Welcome to Letters from Camp Blood, a journey, a review,
A ramble through the horror and genre films of our wayward youth.
I'm Josh Lewis,
And I'm Rob Haynes. Adjust the tracking on your VCR.
because now the killing starts.
Hello again, everybody. You're listening to Letters from Camp Blood. I am your junior woodchuck counselor, Rob Hot Sauce Haynes. Joining me in our return to Salem's Lot. That's also another movie. Alongside me, as always.
A guy that's used to being in a trailer, Joshua Lewis. How you doing?
Hey! And joining us, a very special guest on this very special edition of the podcast.
Me?
Co-host, producer, raconteur, funny man of the Which Is Better podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, Brad Edwards.
Thank you. Thanks so much. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Rob.
No.
Thank you. It's Josh, right?
Yes, that's me.
You are welcome.
You nailed it. You nailed it.
This place is beautiful and giant. I think we used up all our good conversation getting ready to do the podcast.
We probably
We had a
did.
good conversation on the porch. We had a good conversation at the coffee table.
Yeah.
The nook
The breakfast nook.
by the ping pong table. So many tables. And now I'm all done. I'm gonna
Salem's Lot is an odd clutch of items.
It's I like it. It's got a lot going on.
It's very mazy.
I want to
know?
go in the bedrooms, and I don't know how to ask that.
Okay, we can set that up later.
Okay, I just wanted just to see.
Yeah.
I mean,
No, because I always feel the same thing. Like I have no problem letting people come in and look at the bedrooms or what have you. But it also feels like I don't want to force it on anybody because
Right.
it's like, hey, look at where I sleep and masturbate. But
Yeah,
but
that
if I
could
go
be-
to somebody else's house, I don't want to ask either because it feels
I'm
kind of
saying
rude.
this living room is the size of my entire home. I mean, it's just fucking enormous.
It's
and mine is small. A combination of those.
well, I think it's probably more like this. The Salem's Lot is ridiculously giant.
Yeah.
There's another thing is one of the roommates has basically a hot tub. What? There's a hot tub in this trailer.
The master bath has a hot tub.
Yeah.
Jesus
Yeah,
Christ.
this is literally like if you say you put a hot tub in a trailer, it is literally putting lipstick on a pig.
Well, you know, I
No, honestly, it reminds me of like I got a like an old Simpsons comic book from my wayward youth.
Yeah.
And like the back panel, like the last splash page was just like Bart Simpson drawing his personal mansion, and it reminds me so much of this because like there's a ping pong table and a hot tub.
Yeah.
And, like, there should be a swimming pool with a grotto and a volcano.
yeah, I just feel like, and it's not like it's bad stuff, but it seems like no one that lives here has ever driven past something on the side of the road and just kept going.
That's-
Yeah, it's like,
You're hitting a little
what
clo-
a ping pong table.
Fucking hitting a little close to home, Brad. That's
I know what I'm saying.
A stuffed armadillo.
I have to be selective, though. I drive by, I see a moose head, and I'm like, where am I going to put it?
fuck
I
you.
have to go.
I would love an armadillo or a moose head.
The last thing I got off the side of the road was,
I think that should be a new category.
I'll tell you, in East Nashville, you get some nice shit on the side of the road.
Oh yes, you can.
Like, because they're all rich and they just don't even want to bother going to Goodwill.
Yeah.
And I got some kitchen things. I got like a big pizza tray, like a big round aluminum kind of pizza thing, pizza slicer, an avocado scoop.
Wow.
I mean, I cleaned all this stuff, obviously, but like,
Regardless.
yeah, it was like all this, and there was stuff still there, like nice picture frames and shit. But like I said, I was like, I can't take a metal shelf. I can't take all this stuff.
Yeah.
I'm
sorry. It's okay. Well, like, because like I was just lamenting the other day. Like, we live in East Nashville, and if any listeners are familiar with the area, it is going through some aggressive gentrification. And luckily, Salem's Lot is right there at the apex, the armpit of it. So, like, if you take a left out of here, again, you'll find disused avocado paraphernalia. But like it used to be, like if you hang a right out of here, it was nothing but like hookers.
Oh, dude, that
Well,
was,
But there's not hookers anymore. Now it's like stolen tide.
there is still hookers.
I lived near 5 Points, and years ago, when I was a kid, that was the shit side of town. But then after the big tornadoes came through, everything got wrecked.
God's cleansing wind.
And so rich folks, white folks started buying up shit and kind of renovating it and like making the houses those tall skinnies, those expensive things.
Those stupid things.
So it's still like this oil and water where like you go down one street and it's all you couldn't afford to live there, and then the next street over it's like we're gonna steal everything out of your cars.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, when I got here, I was like, because we record a podcast at my house, and I was like, why don't we just do it here? Why don't we come here? And I pull in, I'm like, oh man, somebody's gonna kick my fucking window in. But I mean, they'll probably do it at my house too. It's just numbers,
Well,
it's like I've been robbed twice where I live. I think if I lived here, I'd have been robbed 4 times.
You know what? Actually, we've lived here without incident for over a year. Knock on wood.
Really?
And it's like genuinely, like if you go back out to the street and then hang a left, there's like fancy apartment complexes that were built in the last 2 years.
That's where you go to rob.
Yeah.
If you're gonna rob, you don't
Absolutely.
go next door to the guy. That's the part of what I'm saying is, I think in the summertime, the kids get out of school, they just walk down the street trying door handles and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And if you get caught slipping, this is America.
Yeah.
They'll get you slipping.
I've always had the theory that like if I pull into a parking lot, like if I'm going somewhere, I always try to find a parking space next to something nicer than mine.
Yeah.
Because I've had my window smashed out before.
Yeah.
And I was like, if your option is to break out the window of a Nissan Versa and try to pry loose the stock stereo, or there's like a fancy Lexus or a fucking Mercedes or something like that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I got a Lexus and I'm parked out here and I'm just looking out the window every 5 minutes. I'm like, this is my nice. I'm so rich, guys.
Yeah.
I'm not rich at all.
The last house that I lived in was in a shit side of this neighborhood.
Yeah.
And it was near a place called Jones Avenue, which I started calling Little Afghanistan because the buildings were crumbling. There was gunfire, helicopters. It was ridiculous. But the house I lived in,
Food's real good though.
Oh, the food's great. The Mediterranean food, amazing. But the house I was living in was so. It looked like, for you rap fans out there, a trap house where you go buy your crack. So nobody ever fucked with me there. Like, everybody would just walk by and just wouldn't even care.
We live next to some drug dealers at our last version of this. We call this one Salem's Lot because, A, we love Eminem. B, it's a trailer park, and it's easy to put together. Before that, we lived in like a house.
And
in
vampire
the
movies.
Vampire.
Yeah.
I'd like a side story. I've tried to watch Salem's Lot because it's on Shudder right now. I've started it 4 times this week.
It's one of the few vampire movies where the fangs are the middle teeth, and I just can't get on board with middle teeth fangs.
They're very
fangs
ratty.
Are canines.
They're ratty.
Yeah. They're very ratty. They're very rodent-y. Sorry, continue.
No, we live next to a drug dealer. Who also had like an elderly person living with them, so they had like the aluminum
So he was
ramp out
dealing
front.
drugs for the right reasons.
Yeah.
Moonlight
It's
drug dealer was a good guy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there was a John Singleton movie waiting to happen in there, but yeah, it was the same thing. Like no one ever really fucked with us while we lived there, and then like when we moved out, the former landlord's a friend of ours. He's like, yeah, somebody broke in immediately.
Really? Well, yeah. I live. Not in a lot. I live on a block, so I'm in the middle of the block, so my house doesn't get broke into because people tend to rob the edges, the corners, so they
just
get
like too
away.
far.
Yep.
Right. No, you don't want to be trapped in the middle of the street. I mean, up the street.
You don't want to be like 3 cars deep at a red light.
Yeah. So I think, I hate to say it, but like when there were all those rapes going on out there, they were all the corner houses near the golf course, and they would like rape and then escape into the night. And you're like, I'm not going to go 8 houses up the road, and then I got to fucking run past neighbors and,
Yeah, and give everybody my description.
Yeah. Although there was a woman across the street who had people accost her, but there was other neighbors outside who kind of stopped it and stuff. My thing is, I'm not like really friends with any of my neighbors. I don't like neighbors generally.
Yeah.
Like I don't interact with them.
You would not do well on a Sesame Street.
No. Or
I'm
Mr.
with you.
Rogers, certainly.
Well, no, I'm kind of the same way. Like, we're pretty okay with our neighbors. There's a bit of a language barrier, but like,
Yeah.
You know, like I was changing a tire and he offered me a jack, and like
Yeah.
we have swapped tools, kind of thing.
Wait, now, Mr. Rogers, which neighbors did he ever deal with? He only dealt with puppets that lived inside his house and a mailman.
The mailman would come by.
But that's
he
not
would
your
meet,
neighbor. I mean, he just works that block.
No, okay, well, you know what?
What was it? Mr. Furley? Mr. McFeely?
Mr. McFeely was the
it McFeely?
mail
Or
carrier,
am I
right?
getting confused?
Yeah, no, I think it was McFeely, but that also sounds like it should be a joke.
No, because he remember when he would break dance with the little kids and stuff. He had company. I mean,
he had company come over, but none
Yeah,
of
he
them
always
really...
had a bunch of boys come over. Yes.
Yeah.
no, we were his neighbors.
So that's through
Okay.
TV.
Okay.
Oh, so that's a great way to have neighbors. Is that I talk at you, you listen. I have a great imaginative adventures. I go to crayon factories and shit, and I never have to worry about you keeping me up at night playing fucking reggae.
The behind the scenes is like Mr. Robert. Camera pans over and there's just a kid tied to a chair with his duct tape on his mouth, and he's like, "Hey, how you doing?" Taking his shoes off. Yeah.
Did you guys ever hear the old urban
He
legend
was,
of Vietnam sniper?
Yeah, he had tattoo sleeves.
Yeah.
And he was a sniper.
It was like his. Somebody even told me, if I'm remembering correctly, that a lot of the tattoos were like very against Asian people, and he had like a tally of all the people he's shot.
Yeah,
as a
heard that.
tattoo, like hash marks.
I'm pretty sure that was an urban, because from what I understand, he was like a member of the cloth. Like he was a
No, he was a very good person.
Yeah, no, you're thinking of Big Bird. If you pulled his feathers off,
it gets real racist real quick.
Fuckers.
It's all burning crosses.
Fun factoid again from the files of Rob Haynes Has Never Kissed a Girl. You know what one of Toby Hooper's first George Romero, one of his first gimmicks was, first thing they did, because they filmed Mr. Rogers in Pittsburgh. One of the first things one of his first gigs was he had to take a camera crew out and direct Mr. Rogers Gets an Appendectomy.
What?
Oh, Jesus Christ. Did he really get an appendectomy?
Yeah, well, Fred Rogers did get an appendectomy. I don't know if it was the one that they filmed, but...
What did they film? They didn't.
It was one of those,
film
like...
blood and...
No.
okay.
It was just like him going to the doctor and whatever. And like there are... I've
it's
seen...
nothing to be scared of, kids.
Yes.
Don't
But it does
worry,
show
these-
him like them putting like the mask on him to put him under. Like that. I think that's as far as it went. I've just seen it in like DVD extra kind of things.
Oh, wow.
You're not going to get a staph infection, kids. It's fine. There's
Yeah.
no medical malpractice.
Which, I mean, had to have
But I
been-
will be drained of all my savings.
Yeah.
Back to the land of make-believe where I can afford insurance.
So the tiger got his own spinoff, right?
He did?
Like
The
I
king-
think
the
that-
king
the
tiger?
hand puppet?
Yeah, I think that like there's a Daniel Tiger who is either the kid of the tiger or something. I think there's a connection there. There's a little kids show now
Yeah.
that's very in the
Is
style
it,
of
is it all?
Barney.
Is it also a hand puppet?
No, I think
It's
it's
a
a
cartoon.
cartoon.
I know what you're talking about.
But I see the merch and like I bang a lot of moms and I see a lot of
Sometimes I'll just run into like a Toys R Us and get a bunch of stuff just in case.
Yeah, just
you
to keep the
you
kid
gotta know.
occupied.
Well, you see it and you hear about Daniel Tiger and you're like,
Yeah.
say so, man, whatever. Anyway, sorry.
I think all the puppets were also... Well, this is a great horror movie podcast so far, by the way. Can I just go ahead and say that?
Fucking drink it in.
Yeah.
15 minutes in, and we've hit Mr. Rogers.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you with our edge.
Well, you're talking about Mr. Rogers' blood. You know, you're
Yeah.
talking about him being a sniper.
He's a hell of a sniper. He was a murderous motherfucker.
He kept all those people in that little town against their will.
That is true. And he made them speak through him. Like, he did all the voices.
Horror. Those puppets were creepy fucking looking. They
yeah.
were.
Yeah, on rewatch, holy fuck.
Any puppet whose mouth doesn't move when it talks is already fucking too creepy.
I have...
Yeah.
But the owl, oh, hello, I'm an owl. It's like, get the fuck out of my nightmare, you fucking monster.
Like
Yeah.
I kind of imagine like underneath like that little half puppet wall thing underneath there is just it's a guy holding the hand puppet, but he's also wearing a gimp suit. Like he can't move his mouth
Okay.
either.
He's
I was
just
thinking
chained
of
to the
like a
ground.
big pink octopus who has like one puppet on each tentacle, and he's just from outer space. And he's. Do you remember? I'll tell you this before Josh is ever allowed to finish his fucking
I
sentence.
think I kind of forgot it.
Do you remember the TV show Monsters?
Fuck yeah, dude. It's on
It's
Amazon
on-
Prime.
Yes, it is. And I was like, "What's Monsters?" And I turned it on. And I saw the opening sequence, and it all came back to me: the fucking Cyclops mom and the Cyclops kid.
Yep. And
Oh
they're
my
eating
God.
crispy critters.
Oh man, it's weird that like that entire show, which I loved and watched all the time, just flew out of my fucking
So
mind.
in
That's
East
the same,
Tennessee,
like,
they fucked up in East Tennessee, and instead of showing like after sometimes Sunday morning cartoons, there would occasionally be like sometimes a football game or some sort of sports match, and sometimes they would just show like a rerun of something. So they started showing monsters at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon,
Damn.
which is definitely not a prime spot. And so I, as a youth, would just sit down and be like, "What's this?" after cartoons, and that would come on.
You talking
And,
about
but
Fox 17? Or was that what it was on?
it was on. I can't remember. It might have
yeah.
been on ABC. I can't remember
WJHL.
exactly. WJHL, Channel 6, I think, on your dial.
Yeah, those all blur
but number
together.
one in your heart. And I can't. There's only one episode I remembered. And it was a guy that was I think he was a writer or something, and he would bring home women, and he had a bed that would.
That's how you
eat-
can tell it's a movie, by the way. A writer bringing home women.
Yeah.
Come on.
And the mattress was a big Sarlacc monster.
Yeah, it was a big starlight.
Yeah.
And it would just be like, "You gotta feed me," and all that shit. But I forgot how awful the fucking acting and everything is.
Oh my God.
And it was atrocious.
Is that the one where at the end he goes to get something out of the fridge and the woman he was fucking had her own?
Absolutely. And the fridge
Because
ate him.
it was like Naked Lunch or something where like the monster was a muse or some. It wasn't. I mean, I don't remember exactly.
That's what it was. The monster would tell him what to write about or something like that. So he had to feed it whores, basically, like women.
You need an action sequence in the first 10
Well, I didn't mean not
pages.
all women are whores. Wait, I just meant like prostitutes, and
Sorry.
then occasionally he would bring home a good
Sorry, I was
girl.
just trying to get you out of that, Josh.
Thank you.
I watched it. I saw it on Amazon Prime, and I didn't even watch the episode. I just saw the opening trailer and rewound it and filmed it with my phone and started sending everyone. Do you remember the show? And no one did. I'm glad you guys. I mean, I guess we should come straight to the monster
Yeah, you
guys.
got to
But I
come
was
straight to
like-
the creepy kids.
But I was like, oh man, I remember that fucking show. Now, which was the show? Was Monsters the one with the little fucking albino monkey comes out of the closet?
That might
Was
have been
that
Tales from the Dark Side.
Okay.
Which, by the way, that's on Shudder too.
Really?
And, yeah, Shudder, for anybody that remotely likes horror movies, you can pay $50 for a whole year and get to watch all these.
Yeah.
And they curate it really well,
Yeah.
and they put a lot
And,
of deep cuts and new stuff. And their own original material is pretty fucking good.
Yeah.
I can't say enough about it.
It's only $5 a month if you just spend $5.
Yeah,
and
I
get it
don't
for
know
1 month.
if it is now, but it was on sale.
Yeah.
Because Sean had got it for like a month for trial.
Yeah.
$3.99 for, because we were gonna rent a movie, and it was either cheaper or the same amount to get it for a month as it was to buy
Yeah.
the fuck, Black Christmas or something. We were trying to watch something.
Was it the fucking shit? There was a Christmas movie that just came out this year about a kid and his babysitter.
No, it was Black
the actual Christmas? Okay.
The
original
70s one.
Marlo.
Yeah. Margot Kidder, who just died.
Recently
R.I.P.
died. And that movie could never be made now. Have you
No.
seen that fucking thing? Not the remake. The original's like
The
it's
original's
just batshit.
fucking it's insane.
Batshit.
How do you guys feel about that? That there's never, for the generation coming up right now that might be 12, 13, 14 years old, that are just getting turned on to movies and stuff like that and finding their way, that they're never going to have that seminal moment where they just go, holy shit, that's insanity that I just watched.
It's sort of like I don't know. This is a little bit off of. Well, this is a lot off of horror, but like when I was a kid and I would watch Marx Brothers movies, or even Marx Brothers, Three Stooges, but Marx Brothers was like a movie like The Big Store, where there's just like someone starts jazz scatting in the middle of it, and it's like a vaudeville act on film. And you wouldn't even know how to write that now. Like,
No.
even if you got away with it, they wouldn't let you do it. But, like...
The closest thing they did to that, and not to give away anything of Shape of Water, but there's a musical number in the middle of it.
Yeah, but that's...
But most people hated
a very
that.
deliberate homage to that shit. You wouldn't just have that. You know what else? Even Rocky, the original Rocky, with the fucking stammering dialogue and, like, just the weird, like... scene when Mickey comes and he's in the hallway and Rocky's like yelling at the wall, and it's shit that like no studio would be like, what is this even?
Yeah, you're never gonna like show that kind of like raw emotion kind of thing.
You have to be, and it's weird because movies are worse now.
Yeah.
But I think it's just sort of like you get the chance to, I mean, there's a lot of shit you got to wade through if you watch old movies, but when it's great, it's great. And now I don't think you've got the fucking room to. make any of that.
Well,
shit.
I mean, it's happening, but it's happening on a much it's harder to find and it is harder to get out. Like,
It's like on a YouTube scale now.
Yeah.
Like there's just just keeping it like back to horror. Like there are movies that are coming out now. A lot of them are like Canadian type shit.
Yeah.
But like it's like you said, there is stuff that you're like, oh my god, that is batshit insane. But it's never going to get to the average 12-year-old or 13-year-old unless they go seek it out.
Well, or just even a long scene.
Yeah.
Like I remember.
By the way, I just
there
watched.
there were some pretty long scenes in Human Centipede 2.
Okay, but that's a goofy. That's its own weird
Yeah.
fucking anomaly, But go ahead.
Oh no! I just happened to watch a whole thing on YouTube today. Whenever I was bored, just about the creativeness of a single shot long cut scenes.
Yeah.
Which is just weird that you bring it up. Sorry.
No, it's just an odd fucking thing. I mean, if it's a huge theatrical thing, but I'm talking about. I remember, God, there was some Frankenstein movie where Igor like takes Frankenstein out. They kidnap a village girl and rape her.
Jesus.
And like he takes her to a cave.
Did that have Udo Kier in it?
Oh man, I don't know.
There was there was not Roman Polanski, art fucker from the 70s. Most of this podcast is also me just reaching for references. No, there was like fuck.
I'll say this about podcasting in general. I know that when people listen to our podcast,
Pancakes.
they must get frustrated because we'll do things like, what's the name of that nerdy guy on Family Matters? Jacob or something. People are screaming and Jimmy Urkel, and you're like, I don't know. I guess we'll never know. And so don't feel bad because that's all. We fucking do.
Well, if we felt bad
Get wrong
about all
stuff.
this,
yeah,
we would stopped a long time ago.
We gotta have a don't Google. Just like fuck it. We don't know. We don't know.
We IMDb a few things just because it helps the flow of things.
Maybe
yeah.
beforehand.
Whenever you can throw in a little bit of something fun, so everybody would know that we're not just fronting up here that we out here on the streets.
Between listening to people, the robust conversation, the art of conversing with each other, as opposed to just you can fucking look up your own fucking facts.
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't matter. I don't know. Anyway.
And on top of that too, I mean, how many times have I listened to Joe Rogan or something? And him just go, what's that one guy? And just say so many names wrong. And he has a guy looking up shit for him on the internet.
I was flipping through. I guess they, like some podcasts, will film that.
Oh, yeah.
And they'll show it. I was flipping through TV one day, and I saw Brian Regan and Joe Rogan. And I was like, oh, and I was watching. I was like, oh, Brian Regan has a podcast. I didn't know that. Because Joe Rogan talked for 5 minutes straight, and Brian Regan was like, yeah. Oh, all right. Okay. And then at the bottom, it was Joe Rogan's podcast. So he had someone on as a guest
to just
talk to him the whole fucking time. It's like tease. So, Brian, what do you think about whatever? You don't sit there and jam down his throat.
That's what kind of like I don't understand anybody who could host a radio show or a podcast by themselves. Like,
other than Bill Burr, I don't know anyone who does it.
But even his are like relatively short. Like he's not doing it for hours on end.
The only thing I don't like about Bill Burr, and this is just me, I'm not into sports, so I don't know what the fuck he's talking about.
Yeah.
Like he'll talk about sports all the time, and he's funny, and I'll get into it. Pod F Tomcast is good too, but that's like he'll write a script and he'll do characters, so it's all him, but it's him doing Ice-T.
That's more like a radio show kind of thing.
Yeah. But
that's how it's like I listen to like a lot of sports talk radio in the car and whatever. And most of them are like it's the Paul Feinbaum show or something. Like it's one guy is the name of the show, but there's always another dude on the mic that he's talking to.
Never Not Funny was supposed to be a one-man show, but like 5 minutes into it, he's like, I don't.
Yeah, you can't talk to her unless you're Joe Rogan, and he doesn't talk about anything.
No, but he talks into his pillow at night when he goes to sleep. I mean, he just loves to talk, and that's fine. But have you ever met him?
No.
He's like 4 feet tall, and you couldn't knock him over.
Yeah.
Like he came to Zany's one time, and he was a nice guy. He's one of those comics who's not so much funny as interesting.
Yeah.
Like Stanhope or something, where it's like, or Bill Hicks or something. It's like, I mean, you make good points, but I'm not like holding my guts laughing, the whole time.
Yeah.
I mean, there'll be moments, but it was like,
Well, and he's also like obviously like he does the commentary for UFC. But he's like turbo like into martial arts himself. Like he has black belts and things. Like he could actually, as a tiny dude who's built like brick shit out, he could kick your ass.
Because I did like he was standing behind me and I turned around to go somewhere, and I hit him, and it was like I hit a pillar. I was like, damn it. I was like, damn it. I mean, not that I'm a huge guy, but
Yeah.
he's all muscle, or he was then. Who knows now?
I think we just did something that's maybe a podcasting first, where we just podcasted about podcasts.
Whoa.
There's got to be a podcast about podcasts out there.
Podcast?
The
podcast.
There must be a podcast. There's some podcast, I don't know who it is. It's a guy who just interacts with people who hate him, like people who leave shitty comments or something. He like hunts them down. Let's talk about my podcast. We're going to talk about podcasts.
Yeah.
Let's talk about horror before we
let's-
talk
well,
about
yeah,
anything.
might as well, do
horror
all that.
movies.
Our
I
fans
love 'em.
have probably gotten used to us just occasionally.
digressing.
Well,
Yeah,
man, I
very much.
was trying to pivot when we were on Black Christmas because they remade
yeah.
that, and I actually really liked the remake. Not as much as I like the Margot Kidder version, but
Didn't the remake have at some point spinning Christmas lights that?
no. And
Okay.
here's the thing that
was in
pisses
the
me the
trailer.
fuck off. It was in the trailer,
Okay.
and they were pulling Lacey Chabert from Party of Five into the fucking
Yes.
spinning Christmas tree lights, and he's like, "Oh, she's gonna go into him like a wood chipper."
Yeah.
and then it's nowhere in the fucking movie.
Okay,
'Cause there was a
that's-
lot of stuff a lot of that trailer they had to reshoot like 6 months later.
That's why I didn't go, because
Yeah.
I was like, this is stupid.
No, fuck you. That's awesome.
Well, it's not Black Christmas. Black Christmas, the original, spoiler alert, was just a fucking psycho got into the
Yeah,
house,
yeah.
was hiding
Yeah.
in the attic, and one by one killed all the girls. There wasn't any magic Freddy Krueger
Yeah.
Evil Dead
No.
Christmas lights wrapping around, grabbing tentacles and
Well,
shit
then
like
there
that.
weren't in the remake either. It was just a
Well, that's what
psycho,
I'm
but-
saying. It looked like it was like they just took the name Black Christmas and
Yeah.
like whatever, and was like, oh god, what was Krampus? Did you see Krampus?
I did see Krampus.
Never
Yeah.
saw
That
Krampus.
was fucking dark. I mean, that kind of
Yeah.
got.
Yeah,
Or,
it-
you know what? There were like 3 Krampuses in a row.
There was strange exports where...
Well, there was Rare Exports.
or rare
Oh,
exports,
right,
yeah.
Which
right.
was the Swedish one. Then there was Krampus, which is the one everybody like. It was the guy that directed Trick or Treat.
where they're stuck in a snow globe.
Yeah,
yeah, they're all in hell.
That was like the big.
Never mind, I'll watch it now.
That was like the
Oh.
big movie. You would like it actually. It's got Adam Scott in it and Toni
Okay.
Collette, and it works.
It's scary for the sake of being scary, or it's silly, or it's just like a silly, scary movie.
It's got a very fantastical.
It's that's
yeah.
a good word for it. It's very. It's kind of artsy, but
Yeah.
also
There's some
sort of
scares
like
in
The
it.
Mist
Oh,
Okay.
Okay.
kind of vibe to it. Where
But,
they're
like, it's-
we don't know what's going on exactly.
But there's still like a gingerbread man that attacks people, so like it doesn't take it so fucking seriously.
Okay, well, I don't mind that as much, and we've talked about this on here, so it's just rehashed for me. But I just don't like. I don't like a lot of the comedy horror.
No,
because
I've
it's
Hard
never
to do.
liked-
Hard to do.
Yeah, Shaun of the Dead's about it, really, for me.
That's a comedy that is a horror movie.
Yeah.
I don't like Return of the Living Dead, where they electrocute a zombie and he's breakdancing like Michael Jackson. It was like, I mean, I want to be scared.
Yeah.
I don't want.
Well, it's a real fine line to do well because you've still got to you've got to placate both sides, and it seems like
It's
it would be
so easy to
natural.
go down that fucking
Yeah.
road though, and you can't go back. If it's the idea is it's going to be Shaun of the Dead, where it's we're funny guys. We make a movie about being cops. We make a movie about this and that. Now we're going to make a movie about zombies. Here we go. That's fine. But, and this is a bad example, and this just shows my age. I'm 42. And when Gremlins came out, Gremlins was fucking badass.
Yes,
Yeah.
it was.
Gremlins 2 came out, and they were
was
like
the fucking Looney
Hulk
Tunes.
Hogan's talking to the camera. There's musical numbers. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? And even, I'll even say Evil Dead when it first came out, Army of Darkness, I was like, this is fucking goofy. And it made me mad.
Yeah.
I have an appreciation for it now. But at the time, I remember sitting with my friend watching it. I was like, his face was all stretched going into the thing. I'm like, man, this... I remember being scared of Evil Dead when I was like...
well, like
you know,
I feel much the same way, and like my generation, I'm 33, so I'm 10 years younger than you.
Okay.
Like
Take that.
well, trust me, death is still coming for all of us. But like, I don't know if it was because of Hot Topic licensing or whatever, but like it seemed like everybody that grew up around my age of the Evil Dead trilogy, they fucking loved Army of Darkness.
Yeah.
Like, it's the one that was always checked out of the video store, and it's my least favorite of the 3 for that reason.
It's
like,
a different it's a different format.
yes.
Can I say I'm 87 years old? And I personally, I wasn't a huge fan of Evil Dead whenever I first watched it. I think because I started getting into the Romero zombie pictures and
Yeah.
the trap survival horror stuff. And
That's
what
how
I
I
was
can,
into.
I'm
when
going
I
to
was
stop
like,
you right there.
Okay.
That's how I can tell. I'm going to. That's how
I
you.
can't believe you're talking to an elder this way, but that's fine.
I was going to say that's how I know you're 87 years old because you call them pictures.
Oh, thank you.
Moving pictures on the silver screen.
Ooh, a Flickr show. But yeah, so I kind of had to revisit Evil Dead. So by the time I'd watched Evil Dead, I didn't even watch part 2 because somebody told me, it's like, yeah, it's basically they remake the first one.
They did it. That was
yeah.
was confusing.
So
too.
I didn't watch part 2, and I went straight to Army of Darkness. And me being a Stooges fan, everything, it was like the most fantastical Stooges movie I'd ever watched.
And that's fine if that's what they were doing, but like if Hellraiser 3 was all of a sudden funny,
Yeah.
you'd be like, what the fuck is going on? This isn't what I wanted. And you could easily make Hellraiser 3 funny because there's a guy shooting CDs out of his fucking face.
Yeah.
And the Cenobites are like, well, you mean we're Cinnabons? And they shoot cinnamon out of their ass or something. It's just fucking not what I signed up for.
Exactly, and that's the reason why a lot of new fucking horror movies that are coming out right
Yeah.
now, quote unquote horror movies, are showing me a trailer of something that. Okay, so the movie Mother. Have you guys watched this steaming pile of fucking filthy garbage?
Yeah.
Oh, that weird, pointless movie? Well,
Yeah.
its point is to make you feel uncomfortable. If you go into it thinking that the point is to be unnerved, then
I was
maybe that's what you...
After spending $15 on a ticket to
Yeah,
see that garbage,
yeah,
I was very
yeah.
uncomfortable. Anyway, so the trailer, and you guys can YouTube it or whatever, there was like basically a grindhouse 70s horror movie feel to the trailer.
Yeah.
And it was like, you'll remember the moment you saw Mother, like for the rest of your life. And you know
Yeah.
what? I will, because it showed me that you can lie in a trailer and give me an art house, slow, boring film. The best part about that movie, well, I guess there's two. You can see Jennifer Lawrence's boobs through that Sears shirt, which was
Okay.
pretty neat.
Okay.
And the cinematography was good. So there you go. And you
think
know
the
what?
last-
If I didn't watch so many movies, I wouldn't even notice the second part.
The last artsy kind of horror movie I saw that like wasn't scary, but I did enjoy was that fucking foreign one, the Orphan.
Oh,
The
yeah.
orphanage.
Is it Orphanage where they get trapped? The door. Fuck, what the... I'll have to text Sean or something, see what it's called. It's in fucking, Spanish or some bullshit. So I have
Yeah,
to
The Orphanage.
read the whole
That's
thing.
The Orphanage.
Yeah, okay. That one was like... I remember walking out of the theater after that going like, God damn. I only want to kill myself. I want everyone on Earth just to fall over dead. What a sad...
Yeah.
Fucking Christ.
And that's where I will think.
I'm sorry, but how do you feel about spoilers? I don't want to ruin movies for people who might go see them.
Most people don't. I've noticed we start getting more and more people that have contacted me, at least through some sort of fashion, and being
Yeah.
like, hey, I don't like horror movies, but you guys make it fun. So they don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I won't give away a twist or anything, but like in that movie, when you see...
Turns out the orphan has parents.
Well, it's fucking... They killed Daddy Warbucks. Anyway, sorry.
No.
Go ahead. I stumbled over something.
No, that's all I was gonna say. Is like I think that is where like a lot of the holy fuck that of the generation
Yeah.
coming out now is gonna find it. Is it's a lot of foreign horror. Like right now there's a lot of awesome stuff coming out of Spain. Kind of like how in the 70s like a lot of really bitchin' stuff was coming out of Italy.
Pan's Labyrinth was beautiful.
Oh,
Pan's
God,
Labyrinth.
was it?
I mean,
I don't know if I call that a horror movie though. I mean it was
it's
scary.
as much a horror movie as...
It's more
You know-
a fantasy monster.
Yeah,
than
yeah.
this. I mean, they always get lumped in with horror, so we can just call it.
I guess it's not a horror movie, but people... Yeah, there's monsters. She
Yeah.
gets chased
Yeah.
by monsters. Well, again, I don't want to ruin anything. There's blood,
Yeah,
It's,
there will be.
Not to disparage horror comedies, because I was in and did props for Black Collar, which was deliberately...
Yes.
Black Collar, friend of the show.
Oh, yes, everybody's Black Collar. So I'm for it if that's what you go into it with,
Yeah.
But I think if you... Any kind of thing that part 3 switches formats...
Yeah,
is
I was
just
gonna bring up the
is-
Nightmare on Elm Street movies. Like, I can tell,
Yeah.
I can tell the exact moment in Part 3 where they went from being a real horror, like
Yeah.
we were trying to scare people, to fucking Bugs Bunny with blood,
Yeah,
and that's when he
yeah,
pops
yeah.
up out of that television and says, "Welcome to prime time, bitch."
Then
Yeah.
runs her head through it.
Yeah.
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 After that whole series changed.
He did turn sort of goofy. I don't know.
Is it easier to make a comedy than a horror movie?
That's
is
that's
that what it is?
what I think it is.
I
Like
think
if
it
you,
is. I think that once you fucking acknowledge it's goofy, you can't go back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can either make 100... You can't make one joke in a movie, as far as like... I've got antennas coming out of my
Yeah.
head. You can't
It's-
do that and go back.
It is very much like a potato chip. You can't have just one.
It's true.
No, like I've said this on the show before. I mean, horror and comedy both run on the same emotional engine. That it's like set up, punchline.
Sure.
Set it up, knock it down. Build the tension, release the tension. But it feels like with a lot of stuff coming out in the last like 15, 20 years, it does feel like it's just, let's try to make a scary movie. Fuck, it's really hard to actually scare people.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll call it a comedy and it'll be fun. Like,
Yeah.
It'll be splat stick.
Can I say, in my mind, I think it's a little bit easier to darken the lighting, have something lurking in the, the bushes or in the closet than it is for somebody to come out. I mean, being a comic, it's really fucking hard for me to get up on stage and make people laugh, but I can hide behind that fucking corner and jump out at you with a werewolf mask on. It'll probably get a good reaction.
I think, I don't know.
bet dating you
there's
is
a
fun.
difference. There's a difference between being startled and being scared. Like when you
Yeah.
go to a haunted house where a redneck jumps out at you with a chainsaw,
Yeah.
that you're startled. You're not afraid.
Yeah,
you're
there's-
just annoyed because it's fucking dark.
Well, like
Yeah.
there's the last like 15, 20 years of movies, they've been leaning on like jump scares, like
Yeah.
those paranormal activity movies.
That's not the
not
same.
a no.
And I think that a movie like Sling Blade, which isn't a horror, is scarier than when
Yeah.
these jump out at you fucking
Because Dwight Yoakam?
because when he kills him, you don't see it.
Yeah,
The camera pans away. You hear it.
Yeah,
you
you hear
see
the
him
thud.
swing the thing. And one of the scariest visions from that movie is when he took his little baby brother, put him in a shoebox, and buried him. And you never see that happen. He's just telling the story.
Yeah.
And I know it's not a horror movie, but I'm saying like that.
it's one of those things. Like your imagination is going to do that
The
1,000
Shining,
times.
yeah,
scarier.
The Shining is much more scary than like when they remade it and tried to put all the
ABC.
dancing hedges in it and all the shit. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like I think shit that gets you in your head is scarier.
I don't think anybody's ever been frightened of Steven Weber.
But you know what I'm saying though.
Yeah.
It's like
So-
you could have something go, wah, and you're scared, or you could have something fucking you
Yeah,
fill in the
they
blanks.
made two little girls in fucking Sunday dresses.
What's scary?
Terrifying.
About that? But it's scary as fuck.
That's why, like, there's a trailer of a movie that's getting ready to come out called Heredity.
Uh-huh.
That's about it's creepy kid movie, and
right.
same thing. Fucking, the kid doesn't do anything terrifying or frightening, but it's fucking terrifying
It's
looking.
just go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Just to get back to where you don't get to see the things on screen, and that's the most unsettling part.
Yeah.
Probably my favorite movie of all time. It used to be number 3, but the more and more that I watch it, which is No Country for Old Men,
Oh, yeah.
and that's by far my favorite. Has to be my favorite movie because I can't stop talking. about it.
I love like the where he just walks up to people and tells them to hold that thing to their
Yeah.
head, and they do it because they're like, there's
Because
nothing
you don't
wrong's gonna
know,
happen.
Yeah.
and any of us would die that way.
Oh yeah,
And that, you ever read the book?
no.
It is the movie is the book is just a screenplay. It is exactly the same. There's a
That's
little
cool.
bit in the book. There's a little bit about what's the guy's name? He's got a girl, Luann.
Llewellyn Moss.
Llewellyn picks up a runaway, a hitchhiker, and she's like 16, and he doesn't do anything with her. But there's sort of this: is he gonna
Like
do
a
something
tension
with
type
her?
deal.
And like, yeah, and the whole scene where they're at the hotel and there's a dead, like they weave that into it. They left that out of the movie. But in the book, there's that. Otherwise, it's like you're reading. Someone wrote down the dialogue. I mean, it's like we're doing this fucking book the
Yeah.
way it was.
Yeah.
And he did The Road, which was sort of scary.
Jeez Louise.
The problem with The Road, because Road was scary, but the book The Road would be like the guy would look out the window and he'd have this big internal dialogue
Longingly.
about the bleakness of life and all this stuff. But you can't film someone having an internal struggle. You just
Yeah.
film a guy looking out a window.
Can I say you can? Have you ever watched The Thin Red Line, the remake of Thin Red Line that came out early 2000s ish?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I know,
But I'm just saying,
what I'm
it
saying-
didn't go very well.
In The Road, yeah, there's a lot of stuff unsaid. Like the little boy is learning how to live when his dad's dead.
Yeah.
While his dad's alive. He's like, he asks him, what do you do that? And so when he's dead, you know, like you're friends with Rob. You know what Rob's going to say before he says it. And if, God forbid, Rob was to die, you could do this podcast easily without
Exactly.
him. You don't need Rob.
I would just do an impression of Rob, and I would have a teddy bear sitting over there, and I
Thank
would,
God, because like I've been wanting to kill myself for fucking months.
we just gave you
Don't
pure
kill
license
yourself.
to do
Don't
it.
make it. Okay. Come on. Nobody kills himself. As I may get that promise out of everyone I meet.
You know,
Don't kill yourself.
I'm not selling you to do it, and I'm not
What are
telling
you-
you not to do it.
Riddle
I'm
me
just
this. What are you gonna do? Kick my ass if I do?
I'm just saying it'd make the ratings go up pretty high.
Yeah, that episode would. The Rob Haynes tribute episode.
Yeah.
With me and my...
We peak over 500 downloads.
Yeah. Well, you do like Tupac and you just have 20 episodes come out after that.
Yeah.
So,
Just record a backlog.
yeah. They took
Wait a minute, he's reviewing something that came out yesterday.
like Ebert when he lost his jaw. Oh God!
Oh,
Imagine
Jesus.
losing your fucking jaw. Anyway, there were these.
Would you wear like a mask or something if you did that?
I'd die.
I would go full-blown luchador mask.
I'd kill myself. No, I.
Well,
couldn't.
you wouldn't be able to go because where would you tie it? You have no jaw.
You put some styrofoam or something in there.
I maybe would do. You remember Trapjaw from He-Man?
Yes.
I'd maybe
Yeah.
do that before I killed myself, and then kill myself.
Like
You never know.
Balzac from Guar.
Yes, just a bottom
Fucking scrote.
turn it into. Try to
Have
audition
fun
for
with it.
super
Have
villains.
fun
Yeah.
with it.
What we're trying to say,
It's-
no matter how deformed you get, there's a reason to live.
Yeah.
My
Just
point-
saying,
what I was-
shit, no one's gonna look at you normal anyway. Have a good time.
Yeah.
What I was saying was some MIT students or someone like there was so much audio of Ebert talking that they were able to make him kind of a Stephen
they
Hawking
get a voice for
machine
him,
that
yeah.
would talk for him and he could talk. So we could do that with you, Rob. We could take, or Josh, you could die too.
Yeah.
Anyone
I
could
don't know
die if you
about
think
that.
about it.
I haven't planned on that.
Well,
We've all done a lot of living.
Oh, well, yes.
Put some miles on the tires.
There's a reason why my face just stays red for no reason now. I can't figure it out. And the doctor doesn't want to help me. It's true. I just go in and say, hey, my face is red. And they go, well, as you're white. And I'm like, yeah, I know. It's
some people have red faces.
I know, but I never did. And so when
Oh,
I came
your
in and
face
said,
has
hey,
become
now
red?
my face is way more rosy than it used to be.
Let me ask you a question about your dick.
Go on.
Do you take any kind of Viagra's or anything?
Oh,
like that?
no.
That'll flush your face out, man. I'm
Oh,
telling
no.
you.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I don't need that yet.
No, you don't need it, but I'm saying it's
One day
you wanna
whenever
go crazy.
Yeah. Whenever I have the sweet...
Sometimes you like to pour a little nitro in the tank.
Exactly. Pour some moonshine down here.
Yeah. Let's get to going, boys.
In my head now, I'm just like, next time I'm with a lady, I'm just going to dip it in a jar of moonshine first. Hey!
Maybe blood pressure's high. Or
Maybe.
something?
I don't know. They go in and they check everything, and there's not a problem. And then they go, well, you just have rosacea. And I was like, but my face is not scaly. And I
That's
was
not
like,
rosacea.
I know. And then they just give me a steroid cream, and they're like, don't use too much of it. It'll thin your skin and make it like paper. And I was like,
Jesus.
why are you doing this to me?
It sounds like that'd make it redder.
Does it hurt?
Not really, but I mean, it's very
Well, they
noticeable.
quit
You just don't
bitching
like
about
it?
I just rather not.
Okay, I just didn't know. If
I'd
it was
rather not
like-
be able to light a cigarette off
Do
my
you
face.
feel
You
warm
should-
and flushed all the time?
Sometimes, but not all the time. Now that I'm talking about it, of course
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah, yeah.
Have you ever thought about just like putting like corpse paint on?
That's a good idea. That's basically how I looked before.
Yeah. It's like, I'm just going to join a black metal band.
Yeah, I have to now.
I wanted to ask you guys if we could do a little bit of a thing like on my podcast. What we do is a thing called "Which Is Better,"
Yes.
which is the name of the podcast.
Which is oddly enough, name of the show.
That's what it is. And we take two things, we compare them. The last one was Jackie Chan versus Bruce Lee. Spoiler alert. It's
Bruce Lee.
China's guy who wins. Yeah. A China man.
I haven't listened to it.
A China person. Who got in trouble for saying China person?
Did somebody get in trouble for
Oh,
saying
yeah.
that?
There was some guy, the guy who owned the coal mine that blew up and killed all the people. And then he went to jail and now he's running for senator.
So what you're saying is a piece of shit said something insensitive?
He said China person.
Yeah.
Anyway, whoever he is. I don't want to give him any press anyway.
Yeah.
Other than who is a piece of shit. We'll do like weed versus pot. We'll do this versus that and all this stuff. And I
Yeah.
thought since I'm here at Camp Blood in Salem's Lot that we would, if you would let me, do a little which is better, where I ask you guys questions.
Oh, yeah.
And you tell me,
Brad,
which
if
is
you
better.
could
Take
if you
some
could
of the
just-
fucking pressure off of us.
If you just put your hands over your ears, we'll deliberate about this. Real
All right.
quick.
Okay.
Okay, you ready? All right.
Yep.
Rob, what? I mean, we usually do a lot.
I mean, he's a guest.
Yeah, I know. Well,
Tell him it won't take long.
What if?
Rob, something's communicating
What
to
if?
me.
What if?
I don't think this will
mean-
take long. So if we don't like it, we'll be out of it pretty quick.
It just seems polite to let him do what he wants, but at the same time, that's. I mean, how far do we let this go? Like, if he has to touch our dick, do we let him?
I mean, he is our guest.
Yeah, but I mean, consent's still a thing.
Well, yeah. I mean, he's going to ask. I hope. Or what?
But
you think he's just going to put his hand straight on her cock? And
One of
tell
us at least.
Well, what if he uses?
I'm thinking you because you're pretty.
Well, wait a minute.
And
he does host a podcast
you're-
called Which Is Better. Maybe he has to fucking get both our cocks out.
Give them both a squeeze.
So I say we let him do it.
I say yeah. I say this might appease him.
Okay. Hey, Brad, you can go ahead and take
Yeah,
your
go
hands
ahead,
off
buddy.
yours.
Well, hey, I saw your mouths moving, and I thought it must mean I could take these.
Yeah, no, please. And take all the time you need, sir. We're not.
Yeah.
All right.
So we
We were just funning.
All right. Well,
we concluded that you can touch both our cocks at the same time.
okay. Well, that was my first question. Can I touch your cocks? Because you got to get enthusiastic consent, guys. You can't just grab cocks. I want to see how red Josh's cock is.
I think it's like.
Hey, doctor, my wink face is really red.
I think that it's like translucent, like X-ray specs, but like the innards are red.
I think that one foggy Christmas Eve, he's going to have to pull his cock out.
You know, I think mine's more like one of those Valleydale hot dogs that they've shot the iodine in so you can't see that the meat is gone.
God.
Speaking of red noses, here's which is better for this very
Okay,
special
okay.
Camp Blood. Which is better, old Stephen King's It versus new Stephen King's It. So I've
And
got-
full disclosure, the second it has not came out yet.
Well,
so we're,
part two, you're right, but based on what we got,
Yeah.
New
gut
it,
reaction.
New it all day,
Knew
every
It.
day. Yes.
Okay. What do you think?
I'm down.
New
I mean,
It? You like New It?
New it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, out of the pair of it's nice.
Well, let's break it down and we'll find out who had a better Pennywise. There's Tim Curry and there's Bill Skarsgård.
That I will say I liked Tim Curry's characterization of it better, but overall
Yeah.
it seems like the new version of the movie, there was a certain level of grandness, and epicness to the fight. Like I literally just I've rewatched the Tim Curry It 3 times in the last month.
Really?
Preparing for this podcast,
Oh,
like 'cause
wow.
we kept having to move it around, and then I'm like,
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
I've got a few hours.
Oh my god!
So I
I'm
rewatched
sorry.
it.
Few hours.
That's
That's
okay.
12 hours.
Yeah, that's an old one.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
It's because it was a miniseries. But that being said, there are aspects about it that I really enjoy. I think they spend way too much time on the adult part of it because if the children's version, like the kids, just seem creepier.
Yeah. You don't feel attached to him.
Not to the
In the
I
adults.
mean, I
original?
didn't to the kids in the old one. The kids,
No, yeah.
I could give a fuck.
And
Yeah,
not only
exactly.
that, can I say, I think that is, wait, that might be a question later.
Oh, it's fine if you ask questions.
okay. Well, because.
Will you look at my dick?
I'm holding both their dicks right now, and I'm surprised how calm they are.
We're used to it with our guests.
Got some heft to it.
Just keep your eyes closed. so
I
you-
can tell which is better. Rob's dick. Rob's dick's better.
It's prehensile. It's smaller, but it can pick up a
But
peanut.
when it comes to balls, I got to give it to Josh.
Well,
Josh's
yeah,
balls are on
that's-
point.
I've always been known for my scrote.
Sorry, go ahead with what you're talking
So the original miniseries, It, took place in the 50s, as does in the book, if I'm not mistaken.
about. Yes.
So the kids-
Well,
the kids part.
I think that it's the 60s.
it's the 60s
I
because
think, yeah.
It's early 60s because everybody's still kind of 50s. Well,
Yeah.
in the miniseries, it's
Yeah, yeah.
they do it in the 50s. So
Yes. In
you know.
the.
Well, I do kind of like that about the miniseries. Because like, there's so many times like if you see something like a period piece that takes place in the 60s or the 50s, it will be like the most sock hoppinest.
Yeah,
everything's
Back
a
to the
50, 70,
Future.
70.
Yeah, yeah.
When the 50s had to have been like now, like all the cars on the road aren't going to be from that year.
Brand
Yeah.
They're going to
new.
be from 10
Yeah.
years ago.
Well,
Yeah.
what I'm saying is that in comparison to the new and old,
Yeah.
the kids were in the 50s, which is hard for us to relate to.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
And then the new one is in the 80s, which is a lot easier, especially with the big nostalgia wave that's coming
That-
through.
yeah.
I got a theory that there wasn't a such thing as nostalgia until the 1980s because nobody wanted to remember.
that's-
Nobody wants to remember the war.
That's
yeah, exactly.
That's been a joke in a couple things.
Oh, has it? God damn it.
No, that like I think it's Simpsons or something where they go into like a diner and they're like, oh, it's an old 50 diner, just like in the 80s. You know,
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
that was the
Yeah.
thing. But well, I was going to ask this: which kids were better,
Oh yeah.
Oh, the fucking new one.
The
yeah.
new kids
ones,
are
yeah,
better.
yeah.
So way better. Well,
So
that's
relatable.
why I think the first movie, the new movie, is so much better. Like aside from the fact that like you don't care about the kids and you don't care about the adults, and you spend half the time with the fucking adults. Other
Yeah.
than Harry Anderson is fucking phenomenal in
Okay.
in the OG.
He is
But-
a
but-
big fun hack. That's
Yeah.
what that dude is.
But you do like it. You got more. The kids have more time to breathe and become real characters.
That's
in the new
true.
one.
Yeah, and they're good characters. Did
Yeah.
you guys, either of you, read the book?
That's. I was just about to say. It's like full disclosure, have not read the book.
I have not read the book.
I read the book, and I had the book on
Look at you,
audiobook.
fucking reading and shit.
Well,
Wowzers.
this was a while ago. It's a long fucking book.
It's like 600 pages, something
it's
like that.
it's like 1,000. I'm seriously over 1,000 pages.
Really?
It's
So you weren't
long as
joking
fuck.
when you told me that.
No.
It's more than a Harry Potter.
It's over 1,000 pages, and this is never going to be in a movie, so this isn't a spoiler alert.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
When the kids get trapped in
In
the
the sewer?
and they
Yeah.
get out,
Oh,
you know how they get
I've
out?
heard- yeah, I've
They have
heard
a
that.
fucking orgy.
yeah.
They all fuck the little girl.
Yeah.
And then they forget about it as adults, and they kind of come back to it, and they remember.
Yeah,
but,
I
like,
try to forget about that too.
they fucking
And
they,
it's
but
like
they
from
don't
what I-
drop that bomb on you until like page fucking 980, when they're like, "Oh, that's right. I remember we all
Well,
fucked
it's
you."
Yeah, we all fucking blew a load inside
And
you,
so
Bev.
like everybody's sitting there. It's like you've been hanging out all night, having a great time with somebody, and then right when they're fucking going out to the car, like, "Oh, by the way, pedophilia or what?" You know, and you're like, "Whoa, what? No!" And like, "Hey, you hang out with this."
Well,
he
and like,
fucking slips this
it's-
fucking thing. I'm surprised that never was a bigger deal.
well, no, because like I've had long conversations about, especially because I was super pumped when the movie was coming out in theaters this year.
Yeah.
And former
Are they
guest
gonna-
on the show, friend of the show, Micah Dean, loves the book.
Yeah.
And he was like telling
For
me
that
about
reason,
that.
Are they
Sure.
gonna fuck the kid? Yeah, and
No.
they didn't. Yeah.
Well, no, that's the thing is like they're not gonna have the kid fucking scene. So he had to explain to me. It's
So
not
he
that
said he's not going to watch the movie.
It's not that they have the fucking child orgy in the middle of
Yeah.
the sewer. It's that
Which
the
is
reasoning behind it is we're lost down here. The only way we're gonna find our way out is if we bond. Let's all shove it in
Yeah.
Bev.
It's.
Let's go airtight
Stephen
on
King
Beverly.
was trying to make it as beautiful as he could, but it was still like.
But it was still with Stephen King trying to work some shit out on his own.
yeah,
kidding.
yeah, oh yeah, Stephen King. The bullies in Stephen King books are fucking insane. They fucking carve their name in you with a knife.
Yeah.
This kid, even in the fucking when bullying was allowed, they'd be like, well, "We got to get this fucking psychopath to a nut house."
Well,
He
that's
cut up a kid.
that's something like in the miniseries version, right before they're starting to carve up the fat kid. The other bullies are like, "Hey, man, we shouldn't do this. This is fucked up."
Yeah.
They don't do that in the new
In-
movie.
in
They're
the-
all for
Don't
it.
they cut it? Yeah, yeah.
They
that's
do
what
They
cut
do
him,
it.
yeah.
They cut him. They shove him down, knock him over a fucking cliff, and
Yeah.
try to murder him.
Yes.
which is out of hand.
Because I will, yeah, that was watching the TV version of it. Like the bullies go from let's give this guy a swirly to
Yeah.
let's chase them into the sewer and kill all 5 of them.
Yeah, yeah.
pretty quickly.
And like that's a problem I've always had with Stephen King, where it's like, you know what? You can have spaceships, or you can have werewolves, but you can't have a fucking spaceship showing up in the middle of your werewolf story or whatever
Yeah.
the fuck. That's like when the Ninja Turtles went time traveling. It's like you're already teenage mutant Ninja Turtles. You got enough shit going on without adding this. Well, let's make this spice up this shit.
Yeah, let's make it a Bill and Ted movie on top of it.
Which is like the movie The Mist, and now there's a miniseries The Mist.
Yeah.
And it's I think more like the book, but it's like, okay, is there another dimension or is it hell? There's ghosts now. It's like
Yeah.
it's fucking Christ.
See,
I
and
haven't
that's
finished it,
why
so
I loved the Mist, the movie. A, I like Frank Darabont, and B, it had a very Night of the Living Dead kind of feel to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that trap survival horror shit.
I love that shit.
But I enjoy a movie, one of the same reasons that I love fucking Halloween and hated the remake of Halloween. The threat doesn't necessarily need to be explained in every fucking detail.
no,
A fucking
no.
man.
What happened to you? Remember the Matthew Broderick Godzilla?
Yeah.
They spent, and whenever the original Hulk, when they tried to make the Hulk, they spent half the movie explaining how this could happen. It's like, look, we're on board.
Yeah.
It's Godzilla. You don't need to go, oh well, if DNA was spliced with it, fuck you. Just Godzilla.
Give me a
go.
goddamn monster.
Jump right in.
And can I also say that something, whenever you do that and you give that big elaborate backstory and stuff, you miss out on what we do right here.
Yeah.
And it's talk about, like, what do you think happened? Or do you
Oh.
think this guy came from over
You
here?
minimize it.
Yeah,
And you
exactly.
you have no empathy for the characters because they are in a fucking trapped in a mall with zombies around, or they're stuck in a grocery store with the mist outside, and they don't know what's going on. And you want to feel what they're feeling. You don't want like one guy to show up. Oh, I know what the mist is. Fuck you, get out of here, you fucking asshole.
Why is the professor in the goddamn dog food section?
So I was a huge fan of the comic book The Walking Dead. Huge
yeah,
fan.
I love that.
And
still
so
it holds
I haven't read in so many issues, but anyway, that's besides the point. Since the skinwalker people or whatever the people that put this shit over. Anyhow, so whenever the TV series got made, and the first 3 episodes, the Darabont episodes, if I'm not mistaken,
we're pretty close.
Pretty goddamn good, and they changed it up just enough where I was like, "Good, you're changing this."
Yeah.
So now I don't know exactly
then they get
where
to
it's
the
going.
lab,
And then they fucking go, "Let's go to the CDC and figure out what's causing all this."
it.
And I was like, "No, fuck you!
Yeah.
I do not care what causes this. I care about these characters surviving."
In their defense, they didn't actually find out what caused it.
No, but they wasted a whole episode.
But they put shit in it that the characters wouldn't know, and we wouldn't know, and we don't want to know or need to know. And that was like True Blood. I know that's just a fucking soap opera.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, it was like a porn soap opera with vampires. But like the book True Blood, the first season and the book kind of kept pace with each other, and then they just fucking diverged because the woman who got killed and was in the car was Lafayette, or the black guy, the cook.
Yeah.
But everyone loved his characters. They kept him. There was no Daryl in the comics, Walking Dead at all, and so they added him.
And he's the fucking show. Like, he's the franchise.
Another problem I have with Walking Dead, the comic, which I do love, it is black and white, and there's only so many people with beards who you can distinguish from one another. Like, if you don't stick to it, you're like, wait, who's this fucking guy?
Yeah.
Especially whenever they got to the hilltop and you met like a whole new ring of characters. And you're just like,
and then they all get... It's very Games of Thrones where as soon as you start getting into somebody, they're fucking dead. All right, we're getting off topic. I'm talking about...
Okay, well, man. Well,
Right.
I was going to say there was
ahead.
one time that like the adaptation of Dexter, the television series, versus the books, same thing. First season pretty much sticks to the first book.
Yeah.
First
and then
episode is basically half the first book.
Yeah, but like then it kind of splits and does its own thing. And honestly, I think the TV show, for at least the first 4 seasons anyway, way more fucking interesting than those books were.
Have you read any of those books, Brad?
I never read Dexter, but I watched Dexter.
Fucking skip it.
Yeah.
Skip
hated
those
the
fucking
sister.
books.
The
I
books
hated
are-
the sister so fucking much.
I never
Well, that
got
never
through
goes
it.
away.
I watched, I think, to the 3rd season, and that's whenever, right around the time the 3rd book came out, that I pre-ordered. I liked the first 2 books so much. Big mistake.
Yep.
Whenever
Man.
I read that, I was like, well, I don't give a fuck no more because that sucked.
I think any kind of show like that where we switch out directors, who I'm guessing they switched out directors,
Every episode, I'm sure.
because the fucking who was the police chief or whatever, the woman who,
LaGuerta?
Yeah,
at first she had this big fucking crush on Dexter. She was fucking throwing ass at him all the time, and then just one day her character is a different person.
Yeah.
And that doesn't happen in real life. You don't just go from being, like if you're Columbo in 8 episodes, and then the 9th episode you fucking have an accent and you're mean or so, it's like you can't fundamentally change.
It's like you said, they did like the first 4 seasons were with the same showrunner, the same executive producer, and he was great television.
Yeah.
And then after that, it's like they had a new one every year.
Yeah.
To the point, like I said, LaGuerta during one of the later seasons, her and then the detective that wears the hat. They get married for no
Angel.
good goddamn reason.
Yeah.
But then at the end of the next like at the beginning of the next season, over the 6-week gap, they've decided we're just going to get a divorce and never speak about it again.
Yeah. What? Because
makes
the
me
next person
not-
came along, I was like, I don't want to have that storyline.
Yeah, exactly.
That makes me not want to watch a series anymore.
Yeah,
Like, there
I
was
hate when
another
they
one
do
like did you guys ever watch Shameless? Did you ever watch that fucking show?
I never got into it. I started to.
First season's okay, and the rest of them I basically would turn on to go to sleep at
Don't
night.
get me wrong, I'm for Emmy Rossum getting naked.
I'll
She
tell
does that
you,
a lot.
I fucking watched. I put in. It was like homework watching Sons of Anarchy. I tried to watch Sons of Anarchy. Talk about fucking. Just a left turn, like he's got the girl and then she's his wife, and then just from one episode to the next, she's like, "I'm gonna formulate this diabolical scheme to frame people for murder." It's like, what? It's just that fucking out of the fucking blue, they change shit up. I hate that shit. Anyway,
Yeah, sorry.
All right. This is okay.
Again,
Better
dude,
Kids.
we don't always have to do the
decide. No, well, I'm trying to show you what we do on our
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, yeah.
Is we'll go through a thing. We do have digressions, of course.
On your podcast, you have this thing called structure.
we
are,
I mean, at least
we are a
another
loose
thing.
Ziploc bag full of sauce on this one.
I'll
Hot
burn
sauce.
through these quick, and then we can talk about whatever you want on
Balls
your
and
show. I'm just getting tired of holding your dicks. That's all I'm saying. All right.
Hands are a little clammy at this point.
I was going to say, mine's starting to sweat.
I did have which was better, the 60s or the 80s, but we kind of talked about that.
Oh, yeah, the 80s.
Which was better year as far as movies are made, 1990 or 2017?
Do we have any...
Think about 1990.
I'm trying to think
That's
of...
where the 80s were obviously huge, and then there was like a resurgence in the late 90s, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Can I say that's whenever I really started getting into movies?
Yeah.
1990?
Was right around there because, I mean, I was into going and seeing them in a theater, and occasionally you'd find something you really like to watch.
Yeah.
And then there was a bunch of movies that came out in the early 90s that, like, for lack of a better term, didn't, like, change my life or anything.
But they got you into...
But I've used them as references up until now.
See,
I was going to do a podcast called Video Stepdad, where I didn't have a dad growing up, and I was just going to talk about the manly movies that I watched that taught me how to be "quote unquote" a man.
Yeah.
And a lot of those came out in 1990.
See, my thing about that is like it's
Jungle to Jungle.
Jungle to Jungle really helped me.
But like a lot of the movies, like I said, that was a formative time as far as like me getting into movies, and especially horror movies. But it was very video store. Like we were watching old movies. We weren't watching brand new.
But you
shit.
go
Like,
to
if
the
you go-
video
if you-
store.
If you go to the theater, it was like to watch Batman Returns. Like,
Right.
Yeah. Well, 1990s should. Well, 89 was the original Batman.
yeah.
Let me ask you this. Which is better, miniseries or movies? Because original, it was a miniseries.
Yeah.
It went on TV. You get more bang for your buck. Because that's four fucking hours of shit.
I think it depends on what they're adapting.
Yeah.
Like there's some Stephen King miniseries that are great, and then there are movies that are great, and then there are miniseries that suck. Like everybody loves to talk about how the fucking Stan miniseries was awesome. I can't fucking stand it. Can't fucking stand it.
Yeah.
Like it's long for no
but
reason.
I mean, like, if they had tried to make Game of Thrones into a movie, they'd have had to leave a whole lot of shit out.
Yeah.
That's not
So
a
much.
miniseries.
Or
but you know
it
what
would be
I'm saying.
12 films, you know?
Right, or maybe on the other hand, Lord of the Rings maybe should have been a miniseries.
yeah. Well, The Hobbit definitely should have.
Exactly, or but
I think
I mean, which is a better thing?
well,
just in general.
Yeah, do you like movies or
movies
miniseries?
better.
movies
I-
definitely
yeah.
because I mean, like I said, unless it's something huge like war shit like that needs that kind of
Yeah.
length, but it also limits you to a certain extent. Unless I mean, we live in the age of like cable and shit now, so not necessarily. And that's
Yeah.
what struck me about like the 90s. It is for something that aired on ABC, the amount of blood they were able to get away with.
so cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Like it was like it's probably my favorite part of that. It's not because like oh fuck I love blood. It's just very jarring because it's shot in a manner that like this looks like a television show,
Right.
And then all of a sudden they're hucking blood all over the place. So it's a weird juxtaposition.
Yeah, because you have all these guys that are known for either sitcoms or just TV shows.
Yeah.
They cram them into this movie.
John
and
Ritter.
it's John Ritter. So, and John Boy Walton, for God's sakes, too, with a ponytail, with a fake fucking ponytail.
Well, I compare it to like if there was a fucked up episode of Home Improvement where you actually saw Tim's arm get ripped off.
All right, next question. Bigger dick. Bigger dick.
Tim Curry or what the other guy is.
Well, here's the
named?
thing on our podcast, which is better. Bigger dick is asked every time. It doesn't even apply. Like
There's
when
no
it was-
context.
Yeah, like it doesn't necessarily like science versus religion. Bigger dick. You got to just answer.
I think miniseries got to have a bigger dick again because it was
Well, I mean, it for old it or new it.
old. It has a bigger dick.
Old dick has a bigger dick.
Yeah,
Old It, I agree. Old It has a bigger uncut dick.
yeah.
It's like
It's
It is very much.
uncut, huge bush.
Oh,
like
good
let's
Lord.
move.
It's the side of Pennywise's hair is just
Yeah.
shooting out of the fucking.
Like fucking speaker wires just shooting out.
Now you touched on this just a moment ago, which was scarier.
The new one.
Yeah,
The new one's way scarier. If they could have like cast Tim Curry in the new one, I think.
See, that was my biggest problem with the new one. So it plays. I know this is in the book because I watched a YouTube video about it.
Yeah.
It liked to take on the appearance of something
That scared you.
that's scary, but also
Right.
he could lure children in. So
Right.
children had the best fear but also
Yeah.
they were the most gullible. So
Right.
what scares people, but people also kind of love, is the clown. So
Yeah.
he would
Yeah.
do that. So Tim Curry looked like a clown that me as a child would be like, okay, I need
Yeah,
some cotton
yeah.
candy from this dude. The Skarsgård, if I'm pronouncing his last name right,
Yeah.
he just looks fucking scary. Like I would, if
That
I
is
was
the
Georgie
difference.
at the first and I lost my little boat and he popped up and went, "Hey Georgie," I'd be like, "Fuck this," and I'd take
Yeah.
off running.
Well, he doesn't look like the clown that you and I are accustomed to. He looks like the old, like,
Victorian age.
Yeah.
Yeah. He looks like a psycho's imagining of what a clown would look
Yeah.
like.
Yeah, absolutely.
and okay,
But he
let's-
is. He's a spider monster from
Yeah.
outer
yeah,
space.
yeah, he's a
What
lot.
what I will go as far as saying, something I wanted to bring up on this particular show is I am fucking terrified of clowns.
Really?
I am uncomfortable as shit around them.
You
I was-
mean like killer ones from outer space?
No, and that's the thing though. That's the thing though. Like I am not afraid of like a juggalo or the killer clowns
Right.
from outer
Can I
space.
say I'm the same way with a lot of stuff? If it's purposely scary, I'm like, eh.
Yeah.
But if it's just like, what's fucking underneath that shit, that
Yes.
scares me more.
What drives you to do that?
Yeah.
And I was running down my theory as to why real clowns are way fucking more terrifying than pretty much anything I've ever encountered to a friend of mine. And then she explained that she was indeed a birthday clown on weekends.
You know-
and I felt real. I wanted to feel bad, but I was like, no, you're awful.
I've heard a lot of people who are scared of clowns, and I remember being a kid, and the clowns annoyed me.
Yeah.
I wasn't afraid of them, but like if they came up, you go to the shrine circus or whatever, and they kind of come up and they're like in your space, you're like, I don't care about what you're doing, but I was never like
Yeah.
scary, and I don't know. I can see why it would be scary.
They just seem very threatening. Like I was working at a retail establishment when the
Yeah.
Striners were coming through town, and they were doing the clowns would come out. They'd hand out
Yeah,
tickets for
yeah.
the businesses to give away. And I was in the back doing something, and one of my coworkers that knew I didn't like clowns thought it would be hilarious to send this fucking clown back into the stock room.
Yeah.
And I'm not like, oh my god, ah! Like I'm not that kind of frightened of them. I just
Yeah.
get very fucking threatened. Like I will stab you to death, old
Yeah.
man. Like
By the way, any of us, if we're just back there in a stock room stocking something,
And you turn around,
and you turn around and there's just a clown standing down the hallway,
Yeah.
which is exactly what happened.
I'm picking up something to defend myself.
Yeah.
I think though, when I watch old It, I see Tim Curry dressed
Yeah,
as a clown. I
yeah.
don't see Pennywise, but with the new one, it's like this is a monster.
Yeah, and
That
he seems
is a
more,
shape-shifting monster.
even though he seems less relatable as a clown to
Yeah.
what we think a clown is, he does seem way more menacing than, like, he seems like an
Yeah.
actual physical threat versus,
Yeah, and he does feed on fear.
yeah.
And I've heard that argument said that like Tim Curry's version is kind of more of a Freddy Krueger, where he's like, "Hey, I'm gonna be a wisecracking murderer," and he'd jump around and do stuff. Some people like that. I don't know. I don't think it was really that true to the thing.
Well, I enjoyed in the remake. Like he wasn't just necessarily that weird clown monster. Like he
Yeah.
became the fucking leper, and he became
Well, in the book, he was all
Yeah,
all the visions, all the balloons, all the things. These were like manifestations of this
Yeah.
psychic energy from this monster.
He
on
just,
fucking
if I'm not
cinema.
mistaken, in the book, he just liked to be the clown. That was his favorite entity to
This
be.
is one of his go-to. Yeah.
It was his
But,
favorite
but
pair
if you're
of
afraid
jeans.
of grilled
Yeah.
cheese sandwiches, he would pop up as a fucking,
I don't
grilled
remember in
cheese
the
sandwich.
movie. Did they do the thing where they melted down the silver and?
Oh,
No.
and then
Like-
tried to kill him because of the
'Cause
werewolf
in the
thing.
book, well, in the book, they one of the kids had like some silver dollars, and they melted them down and made ball bearings,
yeah.
and like shot him with it, and because they thought silver hurts monsters. I don't know.
No,
And
in the
it
miniseries,
did. In the miniseries,
Miniseries they
in the
did.
miniseries,
But in
what
the
they
book-
did was he just said because one of the kids was really afraid of the Wolf Man, like he just watched the Wolf Man or something.
Yeah.
And so the guy would come
Yeah.
to him, or it would come to him as the Wolf Man. And so he used his imagination to be like, if we're not afraid, it won't hurt us. So
Yeah.
he's like, and that's a silver bullet or
Yeah,
something.
okay.
They
Well-
were using their imagination because it was the same deal like when they were spraying him with the asthma stuff. He's like, this is
Yeah.
battery acid. And it's not battery
Well,
acid. But
in the-
if they believed it.
Right. Okay. Well, in the book, like they kind of pin the monster down, and he's like, "I'll make a deal with you. I'll go away," because he only comes out every 26 years like a locust and feeds on fear, and then goes back into hibernation.
Which doesn't sound that bad, really.
He's not.
He's not really a problem.
But like he somehow makes a deal with them, so they all grow up to be successful, except for the black kid, of course, who has
Look,
to
we'll-
stay in the town. And
We'll
be,
do the best we can for you.
Yeah.
He has to stay in town and be a librarian, and everyone else goes on to be a fucking rich successful writer. Of course, everybody's a writer. If you write a book and you write a writer as a character, go fuck off.
Yeah, well then, fuck off
fuck.
Stephen King, because I've read a
Yeah,
few of your stories
fuck,
where
every
the
goddamn
writer
book.
is the hero.
Did you ever read The Dark Tower where he wrote himself
Into the book.
into the book?
Can I
Fuck
say,
off, Stephen King.
I only
Come on.
read the first part of The Dark Tower that I bought at a Goodwill. And I would only read it whenever I was doing my laundry. Like, I
Yeah.
had a stack of books that I bought for like $0.25 a piece, and that was one of them. And that was the most arduous read I've had.
Okay.
It was
It
so
is,
fucking hard.
It is, but push through it. Read the first one and then go
I
on
got
to the next
through
one.
it. At the end of it
Okay.
was pretty fucking neat.
Well, it's like I remember reading Gunslinger and being like, "Whoa, okay," and then my friend was like, "No, you got to trust me," and it was a person who I did trust. I was like, "All right, I'll read it," and then like I got into it, and he also did sort of a thing like we're talking about. He totally rebooted the character. He's like, "Okay, let me rework this a little
Yeah.
bit." Now everybody's different. Go.
Well, I was kind of frustrated by it because I hate it when like they try to Avengers shit and like, oh, we'll make this everything we've ever done is going to be. The Stand is now part of the fucking
fucking
the-
Hearts in Atlantis shit you didn't even know he wrote.
Everything is now part of it.
Yeah.
That book about the Red Sox is in
And
there.
everything. Stand By Me is in it. Fucking Green Mile. Did he write Green Mile?
Yeah.
He did it.
Did he
They
write
released
Shawshank
it.
Redemption?
Yep. It was a short story called Rita Hayworth and the Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah, Stand By Me. That was always one I was like, what? Okay, last question, which was funnier. I think the old one's funny for the
The
wrong
old one's
reasons.
funnier, yeah.
Well, the new one's funny when the kids are cracking jokes. They're
Yeah.
funny jokes.
Because they do talk more like children, I think.
Yeah.
Like they're when I was a kid, like we were fucking dirty and nasty.
Yeah,
and,
they're sitting there in the sewer. They're like, "Hey, I got a staph infection for you." Fuck, you know.
Yeah,
That
That's
one
a pretty good
kid,
one.
the one kid was basically a composite of me and three other boys growing up.
Yeah.
If one of us wasn't saying something
Richie?
filthy, the next one,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
Richie.
yeah.
I think we all kind of wanted to be Richie.
No,
Yeah.
well, I think my friend group was Richie
Yeah.
because all of us were just garbage
The
kids,
fucking
garbage pail kids.
And there really were kids like the bullies and stuff. They weren't that evil.
Yeah.
But like, that was in the book where they all start jerking off together. Is that in the movie?
No.
No.
The bullies like do a circle jerk, or two of them do, and then the one kid with the liver lips or whatever like starts jerking the other kid off, and then he kind of snaps out of it and is like, "Hey,
I bet Stephen King's childhood was way fucking
yeah,
weirder
Stephen
than.
King,
Castle Rock must have been a hell of a fucking
man,
place
he
to
slipped
grow
some
up.
shit in."
I think that's like him. That was like, yeah, we did all this weird shit. You guys did too, right?
Yeah.
Right.
I bet he was tempted to write himself into that scene. Like he comes out of the fucking junkyard refrigerator. He's like, "Hey, I'm
Hey
Stephen
boys,
King.
you all over circle jerking?
Gun control." I'm for gun control, but I'm not. A
So am I. I'm for gun control. I'm anti-circle jerking. It's
Hey, look.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying we need to regulate a
point.
little bit of both.
yeah.
That's
you
all
So
got
a
it
little
there.
common sense regulation.
A little common sense regulation would be nice.
See, and that's like, I mean, we talk about masturbating with each
Sure.
other
Yeah.
as dudes. That's fine. I've never once been compelled. Like, look, I've got this video and it's pretty great. Do you want to watch it?
Yeah.
That's gonna make me uncomfortable watching porn with somebody else.
Which is very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But then,
I
like,
don't-
done it.
to cross that line and be like, I'm just gonna jerk off, dude. You do whatever you want.
I've never been in a room where that's happened. I have been around
No.
like two or three dudes, and they just went, "Hey, look what I found in my dad's drawer.
Yeah.
You want to see it?" And I go, "Yeah,"
been in
but
the
then it's just
room-
gonna be weird. We're just gonna sit around with fucking raging hard dicks as 12-year-olds. It's very weird.
If there was like a guy who I wanted to fuck or something,
Yeah.
maybe, but like not like my buddies or some shit.
It's not a bonding experience.
No, and I've been in a room when people are like fucking, or I've been fucking in a room where there's other people.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
But
that's just something you have
watching
to do.
movies with your buddies and jerking off, or
Yeah.
a circle jerk. There's nothing else going on but jerking off It's
In a
like-
circle.
I think. I mean, am I imagining this right?
I kind of got to imagine because I imagine it quite literally in a circle, which means I'm looking dead in the eye somebody else.
I didn't know what a circle jerk was when I was in high school, and there's this kid who was a punk, and he came to school with a circle jerk shirt on.
Yeah.
And the principal took him out of class and got mad at him and stuff. No one knew what a circle jerk was except the principal.
Except that dirty,
and the
filthy
kid who
principal.
wore the shirt. And it was like, it's a band. There's a band called Circle Jerk. Anyway. And I was like, that's how I think all of us found out what a circle jerk was. Because the principal made a big deal out of it.
Funny you should bring that up. I was like 6th grade, something like that.
Yeah.
In like one of like the English creative whatevers, we had to write like a little fucking play, and I wrote the fucking word that girl just blew me off completely. Like she blew me off.
Blew me off to completion.
Yes. Oh, no, I used the term blew. They ignored me.
Right.
And the fucking teacher lost her fucking mind and made me change it, and I had no clue why.
Oh, yeah.
By the way, did
And it's like
anybody
now
else?
No.
I did that afternoon when
Yeah.
when I had to go home. And
Her
fucking-
reaction made you
Yeah.
think, "Oh,
It's like, well, I better go and click, 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 click. Oh,
Jesus. All right. Well, which was better?
new one,
New
knew it,
one.
Has to be
knew
the
it,
new one.
knew
Yeah.
it.
Okay.
Even
Not-
without the
it's-
second part out.
Well,
yet.
we don't know. I guess that's something we'll have to revisit because the
Yeah.
second one may come out and they're like, let's make it a comedy. Brr, brr, brr. And the fucking.
Well, it sounds like the
Hulk Hogan shows up.
the same screenwriter director duo is coming back for the next one, and they're going after like heavy hitters. Like they're that Jessica Chastain lady from Zero Dark 30 is in the running to play Bev.
Really.
Yeah.
That's different.
No.
I would never suspected Jessica Chastain playing
come
Beverly.
on. Redhead.
Well, yeah,
I
I
guess
got
you
that
gotta
part
have
of it,
redhead.
but
Yeah.
I'm just saying you have Oscar caliber actor being like, "Hey, do you want to, stand next to a clown and get scared for a little while?"
Well, it's the adult version is like they've got to come back and like face this
Yeah,
old
they
fear.
Yeah,
made
I
a
know.
solemn blood brother vow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then she's got like the husband that beats her, and there's all
Yeah.
inner turmoil. Like you can't get like Allison Hannigan to play that.
Poor old Bev, by the way, too. She just talk about drawing a shitty hand of cards.
Oh boy. But is that necessary, Steven? Does everybody have to have the worst fucking life ever? Can't you just have I get it, they're the losers club, but Jesus Christ, they all
Yeah.
got to get molested and fucking
Yeah,
Can't somebody just
names carved into them. And
one has a
fucking-
stutter.
can't somebody just be a plumber
Yeah.
and fine with it?
Yeah.
Just some dude who just his biggest problem is he's like, oh, I wish I could afford cable.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
I punch in 40 hours a week. I come home. Things are great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or just one of those kids got to be doing all right. He's just slumming it.
Which, by the way,
I guess the hypochondriac kid is sort of his problems ain't so bad as mom loves him too
Placebo
much.
problem.
Yeah.
His mom-
Yeah.
His mom's poisoning him. Yeah, that's fine.
But
Well,
would,
no,
would it be
she's-
worse if there was just the average Joe guy that's happy-go-lucky that's straight up getting tormented by a monster clown?
Well, but that's the thing is like, I mean, maybe that's some layer that never is made clear. Maybe you have to already have some blackness inside of you,
Yeah.
or sadness.
Negative energy.
Because in the book, does it talk about there's something wrong with? Is it called dairy?
Yeah, it's
dairy,
Dairy.
yeah.
Dairy.
It's dairy.
Yeah, dairy. Is there? They said there was something wrong there to begin with, right? There was
There-
something
well,
bad.
They do briefly acknowledge that they trace back memories to like prehistoric times, and
Yeah.
like some spaceship or asteroid or something falls from somewhere
Yeah.
and lands.
Like the steel factory blew up at that same
Well, yeah, but this
place.
was like back when there was
Okay.
dinosaurs and shit.
Okay.
It comes to Earth and kind of sleeps underground, and every 26 years, whatever, there's some loop, and it'll come out, and then there's a fire at the whatever, and a bunch of people die, and then it comes out, and a bunch of people will go nuts. Anyway, it comes out, gets life force or something from fear, and then goes back to sleep. This last incarnation, it's like laying eggs, and it's gonna start taking over the world or some
Yeah.
shit. So he raised the stakes a little bit for that. But I don't know if any of that's going to make it in the book. I mean, in the movie, because it doesn't make any sense even after you read 1,000 pages.
Well,
you're like,
that's
what the fuck's going
the
on?
aspect. Like people online were complaining. Like there's the fucking space turtle, which is like the antithesis of it.
Oh, the turtle! I forgot about the fucking turtle.
It's like at the end of the day, it's like this. It's supposed to be this simple story about these kids being afraid of this monster, but it's
Oh.
really a power struggle for the universe
No,
between a
in the
spider and a
book,
turtle.
and you know how like
Are
any
they in a
Stephen
race?
King, yeah, Stephen King will like in his books he'll always get a thing and just repeat it a million fucking
Yeah.
times. Like some little mantra that goes through the whole thing, and it was the turtle in that. Like there'd be turtle wax on the shelves. Ooh, something about a turtle. Oh, there's a fucking Ninja Turtles. It's just
Yeah.
turtles. I forgot about the fucking turtles. Yeah, that's like the arch nemesis of the ghost spider fucking werewolf
Yeah.
leopard clown. Yeah, great job, Stephen King.
The spider's natural enemy, the
Yeah.
turtle.
And I used to think I was a pretty creative dude.
Yeah.
And then I hear that,
Yeah.
And I'm just like, no, I could never.
Yeah.
You could sit me down in front of a
Oh,
typewriter
I-
for 1,000 years and then be like, write your heart out.
I feel the
Everything
exact
on it.
opposite. I hear like that, and I'm like, yeah, I got this idea for a book, and it's about these kids, and then there's a fucking spider fighting a turtle, and I'm like, I could
can
do
see-
better than
I
that.
don't think Stephen King uses a typewriter. I think he has those like word magnet poetry, and he just has a bunch of refrigerators. He's like spider, wolf,
He's just
monster.
got a bunch
kids.
of dice with words on it. Just-
Yeah, I will admit, like some of the stuff I've read by him, it does come out fever dreamish at points.
It
too.
does, and the thing about Stephen King is like he to me is always C plus or B minus. He's never fantastic, but he's never completely
god
shit.
awful. Yeah.
No, and it's like he's reliably Stephen King.
That is true.
And so I'll
You know when
whatever
you're
he
reading
has
a
to-
King book.
You know what you're getting into. You like kind of get a vibe of like, oh, he kind of hit on something, and it isn't all horror. He'll do,
a drama.
yeah, and he's good at it.
Yeah.
And he's prolific.
Yeah, he's definitely prolific. I wish I could remember who said it, but it was a bigger name that said it was like, I don't think Stephen King has ever written a second draft.
Oh,
He's like, you might read similarly the same story 3 times by him. He's
Yeah.
like, you'll kind of read the
He-
same story over and over, and they get progressively better.
Yeah.
But yeah, he doesn't write a second draft. He's out there working for that money.
I did read some autobiography or something, he did write something, and he was talking about how his wife would proofread his shit, and he'd like drive around and kind of look at her, and she'd be like, "Keep your eyes on the road, that fucking shit." He did have an observation that I've always taken to heart, and he had a son who played, I think, saxophone or something. He wanted a saxophone. He wanted to play saxophone.
Tell me it was Joe Hill.
Stephen King's kid wanted to play saxophone. It may have been guitar, whatever. The point is, he had some instrument. He played it. And every night at 6 o'clock, he would get a saxophone out. He would practice for an hour. Then he would put it away. And then he had said something to his dad. He was like, "Do you think I'll ever be great at saxophone?" He's like, "No, I don't." But his reasoning was good. It was like, you did it. You take it out. You practice, do what you want. But you don't have to play it. You don't love to play it. Like, kids that you knew who play guitar constantly are in bands still now. Like, they have to do that.
It's
you guys
a
do
sickness.
stand-up.
Yeah.
Right. You don't just do stand-up because it's time to go do stand-up. I got to do it. It's like you'll find somewhere to do it. And then
You
that's
feel
why you'll be
skeevy
good.
if you don't.
Yeah, and I think that was an observation to me. That's like my daughter's in college now, and she's a singer, and she loves it, and I think she'll be good at it because she has to do it. She has to find a way to do it all the time, and I think that drive inside of you, and that's like Stephen King's like, I gotta write. I don't care if anyone's even fucking reading it. He would write all this shit.
Oh yeah,
and work at a gas
I feel like
station.
that typewriter to him or whatever he uses now, some sort of keyboard, is probably. I would imagine.
I like how that's like the thing that befuddles you about all this.
He might.
Not like
the
the creative process. Not this. How's he get those words onto that paper?
I bet he has a typewriter. He
If
seems
he
like a guy
doesn't-
who would be like, yeah, I'm not changing.
I can't imagine a scary book being written just at a computer. Does
Yeah,
that
like
make sense?
using like the dictation software.
Maybe he has one of those green screened word processors.
Yeah, where you can still hear the buttons click.
Yeah.
You really have to strike the button.
Print it out on that fucking paper with the teeth holes in the
Oh, yeah.
side. Okay, sorry, your observation is...
Oh, I forgot what I was talking about.
Oh,
Even
we
though
could just
Stephen
title.
King...
We could title this whole episode that. I would go to say something. We go off
Yeah.
on a tangent. Be like, "Go ahead, Josh." And I'll be like, "I don't know anymore."
me
Sorry.
derailing every thought you have.
No, it's not.
It's one of us interrupts Josh, and then he loses train of thought, so he's not even mad about it.
Yeah, not really at all.
But we are starting to run out of time. So I think we should definitely we did the thing that we do on your podcast.
Okay.
What have you? One of the few traditions we have on ours is we play
The
play the game sensation that's sweeping the nation. Fuck
Mary
Machete.
2 years to get that right.
And it's still not there yet.
No,
not really.
give it one more try. I thought it was good, but I feel like I started mumbling in the middle.
No. It's just
Okay,
gonna let
go
it happen. But again, the rules are as the same ones as fuck, marry, kill, except we say machete for branding purposes.
Okay.
And it's not limited to 3 people. It can be anybody in the movie. I guess in this one it could be anybody in either movie.
Okay. I hate to be this kind of person, but are we talking about the characters or
The
like
characters.
the people who
yes.
play it? Because
Definitely characters.
there's John Ritter, but there's also
well,
Henry
just
or
okay.
Harry
The
or-
characters, but here's the thing: like, just assume that the movie is a documentary. Like, it is the character, and the character looks exactly like that person.
Okay, I would fuck Bev
Yeah.
as a child in
Bold.
a sewer. No, no, I wouldn't.
Wait, which
With
one?
your butt.
Which
I
one?
would- I
Which
wouldn't do
one?
it. I would fuck.
Obviously, the Annette O'Toole, I'd imagine.
Well, yeah, I'd fuck grown Bev, adult Bev. I would. Michelle, who would I marry?
It's usually the hard part.
What if you married Pennywise?
Really?
What would your life be like? Would it be any different? Am I right, fellas?
I mean, marriage is terrifying.
And she does wear a lot of makeup.
I'd machete the black kid just because I'm racist, and I'm happy to have. No, I'm a Hutu, and he's obviously a Tutsi. See, I just Stephen King'd you. This whole podcast, I get real fucked up at the very end. I would marry Georgie. No, I'd marry. Who's the fucking wisecracker?
Richie.
I'd marry Richie. Richie'd be fun to be around.
Yeah, sure.
I'd machete Pennywise because Pennywise is evil, and I'd fuck Bev, grown, just 5 minutes into being 18-year-old. Just whatever, depending on the state. I don't know what Maine
Midnight at her birthday.
It's got real creepy, real fast.
It did. That's what I'm saying.
all
Well, what
right.
about you? Do you guys?
You know what? I'm gonna fuck Pennywise as the leper.
Oh,
Jesus.
Just to again get fucking weird with it.
No,
like,
it'd be like fucking Mystique.
yeah.
Oh, that's
She can be,
genius.
it can be anything.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
teeth are gonna be an issue, but
You could fuck Pennywise being Child Bev, and you wouldn't be breaking any laws.
Well, we worked our way around it.
And you'd get out of the sewer somehow. You'd bond with them.
What if they
I
were,
think
while
Stephen
they were...
King turned into...
yeah, that's the thing. No,
It
you know
turned
who
into
I'd fuck?
Stephen King.
You know who I'd fuck? The entire Losers Club at the same time.
So you would be Bev.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're both ginger.
What if they just had to stack on top of each other to get out of there because there was
Like
no
a
ladder?
Yertle the turtle. Loose the turtle. Oh, okay.
it's coming back.
We're back. Sorry, who else would
No,
you
but yeah, I'd
machete?
fuck Pennywise just because, like I said, it'd be weird. You could get as strange with it as you
Yeah,
wanted.
I love that.
It'd be all 100% consensual,
Sure.
but just fucked up and strange. If I'm gonna marry anybody, I'm going to marry Eddie, the hypochondriac, who had the mom who was all fucking.
Eddie kills himself, so you get all his
No, I
riches.
thought
The
he was
other one killed himself.
Yes, Mike
the
killed
coward killed himself.
Oh, I thought Eddie.
The one
killed
kid that was
himself.
just totally afraid the entire time.
Yeah,
killed
when he
himself.
grows up, he
Yeah,
commits
he
suicide.
commits
when
suicide.
when they
Whenever-
do the call to "We got to go back,"
Yeah.
I think one of them kills himself.
Yeah, that's
he
Mike.
does.
Okay.
Eddie.
Oh.
Begrudge, and he dies later in the
Okay.
book, or in the movie.
All right.
But like he's very fucking doubtful to his fucking family.
Yeah.
Apparently. So he seems, and he runs that limo business. So good
right.
provider.
Okay.
Won't stand up to you.
Jesus.
Do whatever
yeah,
you want.
You're right. That's a good one.
And then if I'm gonna kill somebody, I'm gonna kill Bill.
Bill.
Because he charms the pants off of Beverly, even though he knows clearly that the fat kid is into
Yeah,
her and
they're-
she is into him.
Scumbag.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, fuck you, man. Like, you're
Yeah.
pretty. You could get somebody
Yeah.
else.
Yeah.
Not to
Okay.
sound like an incel there.
No,
but
no. You're right. You got a point.
it's like, man, take a knee for the team, asshole.
Yeah, come on, man. I mean, I know we're
I
all,
need this.
Look, we're all gonna fuck her anyway.
Let me get in there first.
Yeah, I'm going to grow up to be John Ritter. Can't I? Just...
Yeah, come on.
Get in
It's,
there.
look, I love her.
Yeah.
You're just trying to shoot some goo.
Yeah.
Yeah. You stuttering fuck you.
I love her. You're just trying to get out of this goddamn sewer.
Yeah, I'm writing her fucking postcards, which I guess is something that happened.
Now that's been befuddling to me since I first watched it.
Yeah.
I was like, so that's how you get her on your side? Is that you
guess.
give her a bit of poetry? Because I know if I did that, which I've never have to a girl, which I've wanted to a couple times, and thank God I did not act on it, or I did act on it,
Well, it's
and
one
it
of those
stayed
things,
in
like,
a drawer at my house.
In movies and
Okay.
shit, it seems like it works, but in reality,
Well,
no.
wait a minute. No, I'll disagree with you there because Bev, to be fair, Bev is trash. She's trash.
She's white trash.
She's got like a
Yeah,
fucking boozy, fucked
Yeah.
up dad. She's got no. She's
Everybody makes fun of her
She's
clothes.
She probably does think that's kind of classy.
And you treat a princess like a whore and a whore like a princess. You know, if you fucking get some piece of trash and you write her some nice note, you know, people are yelling out, "Hey, let me see your tits," but you know, write her a nice note. Yeah, I think that would get to Bev.
Yeah, I guess so.
believe.
Yeah, I guess in this case sensitive part,
Yeah.
but if you're going after a girl that has not been molested by her dad,
Well,
then-
right, yeah. I'm just.
I mean, that's
saying,
going to complicate the dating process.
It was working out. It was working out fine until 8 other cocks started jabbing at her fucking
That is
face
true. That is true.
like a goddamn pack of hot dogs. While he's like, "Hey, can I just fucking?"
There's
fucking-"
only one bun and
she-
8.
Well, she does kind of reference, like, there's a very vague allusion to the fucking child gangbang scene in the TV version because like they're walking around and I think Richie says like something vague.
We're your boyfriend or something.
Yeah, she's like, "Oh, you compliment me on our first date," and then somebody else, and she kisses
I
him.
remember this.
She kisses him, and then somebody else says, "Hey, what's the deal, man?" And he's like, "Oh, I wasn't on a date with just him," and then she kisses that guy too, and it's like, fucking,
I'm on a date
we're just
with
passing
all
around
of
like a pack of
Talking about
cigarettes.
trash, just garbage. Why does that happen more often in real life? Just one girl's like, "I'm gonna run fucking 8 guys." You know,
I would go as far as say, I especially in East Tennessee, it happened a lot. I was
Did
just
it?
never one of those 8 guys.
Anyway,
I was
I
al-
never knew I was one of those 8 guys. I've had it happen.
I was just always there standing at the edge of the fucking dance floor with
I
a
mean, I
bow
would
tie
have,
and a,
there'd be like a group of friends, and there'd be one girl, but it was one guy's girlfriend.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't like
Yeah, that's what I'm saying too. But
Yeah,
everybody
yeah.
else was sleeping with her.
everybody thought it was she was the girlfriend.
There was a
boy.
couple of times in my life where I've been like, "This is my one and only,"
Oh,
and she's
no.
like, "Oh, honey,
It's like I'm doing these two at the same
yeah,
time.
I'm glad that you're sweet."
Who were you gonna machete? Did we get to that?
Did you kill somebody?
Yeah, I killed Bill because he was.
Oh, that's
he's-
right.
You killed Bill.
He's fucking shit up for the fat kid.
Okay, so that's everything. Who'd you marry? Oh yeah, you okay?
Married Pennywise.
All right.
No, I
Or
married.
no, you fucked Pennywise.
You fucked Pennywise.
I married.
which was good.
I married.
What about you? Who did you?
Oh, I
He
haven't
hasn't
done
gone
it
yet.
All right.
yet. I guess I'm just going to kill Bev right off the fucking bat.
Whoa.
Wow.
Just get rid of
Take
her.
her. Take
take
that
her
piece
off
off
the board,
board.
yeah.
Yeah.
Take her right off the board before I get my heart broken because
Yeah.
that's who I would normally marry.
She. Is
She,
not
she
gonna-
might be a piece
yeah.
of white trash, but she's a sweetheart piece of
She's
white
a sweetheart
trash.
piece of white trash,
She
and I
grew
may
up
be
to
able
have
to
an
relate to
abusive
that.
husband. She's fucking.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm doing that out of like a kindness,
Protection.
All right.
protection. Yes.
Okay.
And then I guess I got to fuck somebody. Dang.
Hey, that's what I say every fucking morning.
Dang. I guess I'm going to have to fuck
I gotta fuck
somebody.
somebody.
Yes.
And then I punch the mirror.
And jerk off with the bloody hand. I think we just wrote the sequel to Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer.
Yeah, I'm probably going to fuck adult
Candyman.
Bev, though. I'm going to fuck adult Bev, but I'm going to kill child Bev because I don't want her to go through all that bad
Ooh,
stuff. So it's
that's
almost...
a paradox.
Yeah, it's a very big paradox,
Yeah.
but we're in 2 different universes. You guys
Okay.
didn't even play into
that's
that.
true.
Very
I
much
see.
in 2 different universes.
Okay.
Adult Bev, she's been through the ringer, and once I'll write her a poem, and she'll be like the exact same poem,
Yeah.
and then she'll be like, "Well, it
Just
was
write her a
you."
poem, don't slap her around, you win.
Yeah,
You
just
gotta-
be like, "Hey, you don't even have to cook me dinner. We'll go out to eat."
Yeah.
By that I mean we'll, microwave.
A little Taco Bell and butt stuff.
One knuckle, please. And their marriage.
A sacred vow.
Yeah.
No, but it is.
Marry the cosmic turtle. I mean,
You know that too. Just to figure out what the fuck is going on.
yeah. I'm sorry, I'm not.
Either
trying
that
to-
or John Boy Walton. I may marry John Boy Walton character just
Okay.
so I could just go. We're gonna have to get a divorce unless you start fixing your hair.
That's what I was gonna say.
Then
It's like
stop
he was so
wearing-
annoying. If I were to enter into a marital relationship with him, I would become a fucking spousal abuser.
I
absolutely.
thought you wanted to just
And
say
it's-
good
and-
night, John Boy, and that was the whole point.
Oh, that's a good idea too.
I mean, that'll.
Which I would do every
yeah.
night. And when he would go, "That's not my real name," and I'd be
please
like,
stop.
"It doesn't matter."
Shut up.
Yeah,
Shut up and touch my
Your
dick.
name's getting.
John Boy, we haven't circle jerked together in weeks.
How many people does he need for a circle jerk? Because it feels like
Yeah,
You think
three
two?
is a circle try. I'd say 5.
Yeah,
Or
so
it's not a
if you
circle.
do 4, it's a triangle
square.
and or trapezoid.
Yeah, you do. Well, you do 3, it's a triangle. You do 4,
Oh,
it's a
yeah,
square.
that's just a square. It could be a trapezoid.
And I think if you had 5, you could still
it's
not
still
hit
a
each other.
polygon. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
but your load wouldn't necessarily hit a.
yeah, you're not gonna be
person.
you're not gonna be dead across from
Yeah,
somebody.
yeah.
Thank God.
You're gonna look at one eye from 2 different people, not dead-eyed into one.
But if you
person.
had like 30, you're too far from the action.
Yeah.
That's too many fucking.
Oh,
people.
yeah,
you're almost
that's-
you're almost a line.
Yeah, exactly.
just a conga line,
And it
just a real long reach around. Actually,
I mean, and who wants to be around like 27 other strangers doing it? I
Yeah.
mean, wouldn't you want to just have your pals?
Yeah.
If
I don't know. I mean, do you guys
go to
think you could
Bond.
put together a 15-man circle jerk of just people you know?
I think that's gonna be when I die. I was like, everybody gather around my grave.
That's how they fill it.
Give me a 21 load salute. Ooh. Well, we're not gonna do any better than that.
No, there's
I
no
think,
way.
I think, yeah. Where can we find you on the internet, Bradley?
Oh boy, you know what? Just get on Which Is Better. Check that out. That's on everything, iTunes, all that stuff. We got.
Where fine podcasts are sold.
Yeah, on Facebook, I'm Brad Edward Prendergast. You'll never spell that name right. Doesn't matter. You're not going to look it up, but I appreciate your effort. The podcast is all I care about. Check out the podcast. We got Jokimon Comedy Battle down there at Third Coast for Saturday
Very
of
fun
each
show.
month.
Excellent
It's a very
show.
fun show. You've both been cards and players on that, and you've done fantastic. So, yeah, come see me, man. Just come hang out. Grab my dick. Get
Say
some-
hi,
Don't
gra-
grab my dick. I would take that back.
And if you enjoy us in your ear holes each and every other week, give us a shout where you love feedback, good, bad, positive, negative. Send us an email at lettersfromcampblood@gmail.com, or we're on Twitter at bloodcamper, Instagram lettersfromcampblood. Yeah. Give us a shout. And please, dear God, do us a huge favor. This is not for our ego. This just apparently finger fucks the algorithm in a way that makes it better. If you could leave us a review or a rating on iTunes or Stitcher or the podcast or
stars.
whatever. 5 stars.
It's
You don't.
true.
It doesn't got to be long or laborious. If you're like, hey, I like this, or hey, I don't like this.
Yeah,
Either one works.
Just
One of our
say-
reviews just says Camp Blood.
Yeah.
That's fine.
And God bless you.
It tricks the computers into making you money. That's all that we care about.
All we are trying to do is gimmick our cybernetic overlords.
There's nothing wrong with it. You just want to do enough so where this is what you do.
Yeah, well, I don't even really want money. It just helps other people find the podcast, like when they search horror or
It's
whatever.
not that you want money because you're greedy. It's like if you had just this taken care of,
Yeah.
if you just cross that, you're close to it. If you just cross that threshold into this is your job, or
I would like to stop selling my body for you, gang.
Well, no, that's a downside because I, for one, want that big beautiful cock. If I could have Josh's balls on your cock,
Just like a Franken
we
dick.
have it. Want a date? Frankenhooker.
Yeah, I'm with you.
You can't. I know.
was great.
Everyone must know that. I shouldn't have explained Frankenhooker.
It's okay.
All right, you were doing so good, and I came in.
No, it's okay, buddy. It's frankly, if when we start getting on a roll, I feel uncomfortable. I feel like it's like,
This is like a 3-parter. Like, I'm so sorry. Stop rambling.
anyway, if you want to contact me and my beautiful luscious cock, you can. I'm at Rob Haynes on Twitter, Instagram, all the other horse shit.
You can follow me at the Josh. You can follow me at the Josh from TN. You can pop on there. We'll talk scrote. We'll talk
Yeah.
scrote all day.
Talk balls.
Tons.
Bush, the Bushman.
Bush. I do like Bush. I do like not the
We
man.
haven't talked about Bush in a while, and it's
It comes back. Yeah, that is true. Well, I mean, there's a lot of
we did
child
say pretty
stuff
much
in
all
here.
there was to say, but yeah.
It's,
I was watching a porn the other day. Started out doggy style.
Okay.
Brazilian.
Sure.
Which is counterintuitive to what happened next. Flips her over, bush.
So the lips and stuff clean.
Bent over, yes. Bent over, dick going in the vagina.
Business end was
It
she
was
cleared the
just-
runway.
Well, you couldn't get too good a look.
Yeah.
But once flipped over, there was a patch there.
Yeah, that's a
very
popular
serious-
thing now. That's
Yeah,
the big one.
It's making a comeback.
I'm not for it.
I'm absolutely for it.
Especially like that where it's a decorative bush. Like you know that.
I don't mind a little, but
No, yeah, I'm not.
I also,
I'm not-
I'm 40.
again,
I came up in a time when
I'm not saying that they should salt the earth, but
Yeah.
you know,
Oh well, you don't want it going nuts.
yeah.
You know.
Put a little effort in. I
That's
do.
all you gotta do.
I do.
Yeah.
Just a little bit of effort. I mean,
Let me know you're thinking about it.
yes, yeah, that you care.
Yeah.
Them clippers out. Click, click, click. Gauge 4. You're doing fine. You're doing all right.
Exactly. I mean,
Don't be a Rolling Stones album cover.
Anyway, on that note, thank you very much for listening, guys. Have a great period of time.
ta-ta.
Bye-bye.